Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Good morning. Actually, afternoon.
Yeah, I was just going to say good morning.
Hi, everybody. Week 2, I can already tell that I'm getting more into a groove. I know this has been a big change for you guys as well, this time that we've shifted. And Brock and I were talking about you over the weekend. And I want you to know, for us to go from between 8 and 10,000 views with great boosting from Rumble. They've been such great partners of ours. So great. I love them. At 9, to do that and to get 6,000, 6,300 of you to change your schedules and to come over and to not just come over and to watch us live, but to respond, to engage, to chat, to Rumble,
stay for the whole time.
To stay steady, to interact with one another. It's so beyond. It's so beyond. And I love how people are like, that's interesting that Dan Bongino is going 10 to 12. It's not to compete with you. I'm like, right.
Yeah.
Right. That's what it is. I'm grateful. However, I think it's great. I think more power to all sorts of new voices. Also, and a platform I think like Rumble now becomes more important than ever before.
I agree.
Because that is their thing. It is free speech, and it's pretty important. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Brock, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. 2,200 there already. Let's see if we can get those Rumbles up. You know I've got a point whore. See, do I want to rate this? No, I don't, but apparently I have to log in. I had a system update, Brock. You know how I feel about that stuff.
Oh, my gosh. I tried to let them do it overnight.
I did, and it didn't. Yeah.
Because then you have to sign back into everything.
Yes. It is just wonderful to be with you. Thank you. Thank you. If you're new to the show, if you're stumbling upon us, hey, we've been here for a while. You know, we share kind of a common sense perspective about the world based on conservative values. It's easy to do because I feel it every day. It's not fake.
They give us a ton of ammo.
Who is the freaking London? I tell you what, there is a darling gal who works on our floor. She is dressed to the nines all the time. If I could braid her wardrobe and if I could still wear shoes like she does, I'd love it.
And small.
She's not a big girl. She
small.
Walks like a ton of bricks. I'm like, geez, the heck? Do you not feel the windows shake when you walk by? Literally, it's like.
I don't even have to look anymore.
And I'm like, what's that? Oh, it's Melissa. That'd be hilarious if she ever listened, if she came and put her head in the door and was like, shut up.
Well, she's
shut up.
Working.
How's everybody? What's going on out there? You're seeing your therapist today at 7. Thank goodness. Pantera, you know what, Panteras? I hope you go see your therapist.
I don't know what kind of therapist it is, but I think we all need
I'm
all kind of therapists.
About it. I'm all about it. Let's all go. Froggy, hi, babe. I'm the Shazizzle. Thank you, babe.
You must not really mean it was only $2.
I know. Or I'm cheap and easy, and it'll be like, if you throw
like
money at me.
Seal.
Right? So apparently, we'll have Heavy Walker. Yeah, you got that right. So apparently, there's some scut going on in Minnesota. We'll see if it's true or not.
Please.
Got some stuff going on. Nick Sorter was attacked. Did you see that?
No, again.
Mm-hmm. He and Cam Higbee. And it was
from who? The left is the people of
They're
peace.
Peaceful, Brock.
Yeah.
They're peace. They're lovers.
Violent.
They're not fighters. These people love.
Yeah.
And all they want is a chance to love who they want.
Oh, no. Pissed off 24/7. Wendy is my therapist.
Oh.
Where's the copay? We're not covered.
Where's the copay?
Yeah, your insurance doesn't cover us.
Did Republicans honestly vote along with Democrats to kick the Obamacare down the road again?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it still has to go through the Senate. And
yeah.
I think
wow, when we got losers like Tom Tillis, right? Who's upset that Jay Powell is under investigation. Well, for lying. Last time I checked, perjury was a felony. Punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Why doesn't anybody get punished?
Well,
Hunter Biden did it. Chris Wray did it. Alejandro Mayorkas did it. Merrick freaking Garland did it.
Imagine you ran
Fauci
your
did
personal
it.
finances like we run healthcare, where at the beginning of the year, you're just going to give an absurd amount of money away to something you're not going to get anything in return. You'd be like, no way. These guys, that's your money. We'll give it to
the indiscriminate way in which you don't matter is truly, it's mind bending.
And for the people who hate big pharma and hate big medicine and insurance companies, they're all for it. It's all kickbacks. It's all kickbacks. I hate everyone.
Oh my
It's
God!
Monday at
Stop it!
12:05.
I know, right?
Well, in fairness, I hated them yesterday too.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America, and greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. As always, it's a great delight to be with you to share what I believe is pretty common sense, right? Pretty common sense that right now the liberals are being exposed for having all of the wrong heroes, all of the wrong people to put eggs in baskets of all of the choices that could be made. Democrats are batting a zero. And we hear today, ladies and gentlemen, that this could be the day. Tim Walz reportedly is going to resign as Minnesota's governor. All right, we're going to walk through all of it. If you're new to the program and you're listening to me and you're like, gosh, she sounds fabulous. Well, you're right. WendyBellRadio.com is how you follow along the live video stream. If you're listening on the radio, I'm delighted you are. If you're not, why aren't you getting us on a radio somewhere? Help us out. Welcome home. Glad you're here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You guys, we're 12 days in to January, 12 days into a new year, and there has been no shortage of breaking news, no shortage of exposés of bad people being caught doing awful things. And you have an administration that is keenly aware, I believe, of all of it. You have one kid, Nick Shirley, 22, 23-year-old guy, right? Or right-wing MAGA YouTuber. No, what he did something amazing, guys, because he wanted to go find out for himself. And in one 42-minute video exposing fraud, he did something amazing. He brought black people and white people together because you know what? It's so weird. The color green is something both of us care more about than the color of skin, yes? He also exposed the ridiculosity of the mainstream media, their lack of interest in a story that has such wide-ranging implications, right? He did what none of them was willing to do. And in that moment, blew up the entire idea that the media even matters anymore because we are the new media. And, right, blew the lid on this ridiculous Somalian fraud and all this other stuff that's connected and coming out. Did you see Scott Bessent, Secretary of the Treasury, said he estimates it is 10%. He echoes Elon Musk, said he believes that the fraud in this country is equivalent to 10% of our budget, $700 billion. That's something. But I want to share with you a personal story as I got Tim Walz on the mind. And I'm going to share with you about Christmas, something that I've been doing as my kids have gotten a little bit older, especially the adult boys. You guys remember last year, my son Chris had said to me, Mom, you know what I want for Christmas? I'd love nothing more than a Mel Blount jersey. Steeler, love him to death, love to have his jersey. I said it on this program. I got in the mail 2 weeks later. A gentleman sent me a signed Mel Blount Hall of Fame jersey. I gave it to my son Chris. He went nuts. This year I framed it in one of those beautiful shadow boxes so that someday when he's a grown-up and he goes and has his own place, he'll always have that as a piece of art, but a memory. And hopefully when he looks at it, he'll think of me. I know, devious, right? For my second son, I got him this Christmas a beautiful picture. We have a great photographer here in Pittsburgh named JP DeRoll. And he's amazing. And he takes these beautiful pictures of the Steel City, the confluence of the rivers, the skyline, which is seconded to none. Sucks that we're a Democrat blue hellscape. But if you're up before all of that hell breaks loose, it's a beautiful skyline, right? I got Jack one of these beautiful pictures. It's on metal. He'll have it for the rest of his life. No matter where he goes, he'll always have a slice of Pittsburgh. And hopefully when he looks at it, he'll think of me. This year I decided I was going to go all out. I was going to get all of my kids really warm, extraordinary winter jackets. Canada Goose. If you know the name, you might know the name because it's trendy and it's expensive. I know the name because they are the warmest coats you'll ever wear in your life. They are prohibitively pricey. About $850 a pop for the low end, okay? I bought my sons these beautiful coats for Christmas. This is going to be a one and done jacket for you. This will be the coat of your lifetime. It comes with this ridiculous warranty. It's been tested to temperatures below whatever. You could go fall out of a plane in the Arctic Circle with this thing. And as long as you could keep your feet, your ears, and your hands warm, you could survive in this jacket, right? Chris's wasn't the right size. And he's like, Mom, I love you for this. This is such a great gift. I'm so happy, but it's too small, and I prefer Bobby's style instead of this one. Do you mind if maybe we could exchange them? No problem. So I go through the process, and you would think, with the expense of these coats, I think Chris's was $750. And inside the box, it's all beautifully packaged. It's exquisite. And you open the box, it's like, right? And there's an envelope, and inside the envelope, congratulations, welcome to the Canada Goose family. You have all these wonderful protections. Here's a QR code. Scan this if something isn't right. We'll make it right. So I scanned it, open it up. I'm sorry, that QR code isn't working. If you have a problem with this QR code, just send us a message using this order number or plug it into our website. We'll pull up your order. We'll fix it. Well, the order number didn't come up. It gave me a prompt back. So I got on the phone and I called the store where I bought it. I bought it in Boston. Joe and I were in Boston before Thanksgiving. And I was like, hey, got a message. Hey, I'm trying to make this exchange. The coat I want to get is $125 more. I just have to exchange this one to you. No phone call back. No phone call. Send them an email. Hey, trying to exchange this coat. Trying to buy another coat. It's more. I'm trying to give you my email bounces back. We're sorry, but this isn't a functioning email. We don't recognize it. If you'd like to get some progress, though, join our live chat. At this point, my hands are shaking. Ladies and gentlemen, it's $750. So I get on the live chat on Saturday morning with a virtual assistant who presumably is somebody whose name is Georgie, right? Going back, well, I'm so sorry. I'd love to help you, but you'll have to return that coat in store. Well, I don't live in Boston. I live in Pittsburgh. I'm not going back to my suggestion is that you call the store. I have called the store. They haven't called me back. I've emailed. The emails have bounced back. QR code is dysfunctional. The order number doesn't register on your website. What do you want me to do? I literally have purchased $3,500 worth of winter wear from your company in the last 4 weeks. One of these things isn't correct. Nobody at Canada Goose will take my call, answer my email, or freaking help me out. Guys, Canada Goose is Tim Walz, right? Both offer these wonderful deals, right? Canada Goose, greatest outerwear ever. Oh my gosh, you'll be warm forever. And people who pay attention to labels will think you're pretty special if it matters to you. Here's Tim Walls. Oh my gosh, we've got this wonderful program for Somalians. The sky's the limit. You can have whatever you want. Come on in, help us out. Yes, you're invited. Then Nick Shirley comes knocking on the door. I send them messages and call and try to get my QR code to work. And we get the same response. Tim Walls is radio silent. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking? Grift, graft? What? No, not us. Canada Goose, nothing. Zero. Either way, what do you get? A lot of bells and whistles, a lot of fluff, a lot of promises, a lot of lifetime guarantees. Got a problem? Get in touch with us. Unless, of course, you have a complaint, in which case you can go suck it. That is where we are. I'm tired of paying premium prices, taxes, yes, without getting the benefit. Well, where's the warranty? My streets are covered in filth. The roads need to be repaved. There's serious issues infrastructure-wise in my city. Why am I paying Canada Goose taxes, but I'm getting JCPenney quality hoodies? What am I getting here? This is where America is. And it's so curious because money is the greatest equalizer of all. Black people don't like being ripped off any more than white people, Hispanic people, Asian people, gay people, fat or thin people. It's the universal language. I will pay for quality. I will pay for service. I will pay for you to respond to me and for me to feel as though you are grateful for my business. What I've gotten is a big, fat zero. And that is where America is. That is where Minneapolis has been. And that is what you and I, no matter what you look like, are fighting against. Stop abusing us, promising us the sky, giving us a product that you don't stand behind, and then evaporating into the ethos when we have questions. Nick Shirley, in one video, blew all of that out of the water, ladies and gentlemen. And he opened a door to a much broader conversation that we're going to have today about this Renee Good and about the left's militant activism, while curiously, by the way, the Iranian people right now are truly protesting for their own lives. Radio silence here on the left about that. Isn't that interesting? This, ladies and gentlemen, is where we're going today, okay? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I got a video about the Insurrection Act. What does that mean? If you have government, if you have local people refusing to enforce the law, which is going on in Minneapolis, what is the federal government's recourse? How does that work? Is it lawful? Is it historic precedence? Oh, yeah. Buckle up next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
So if you guys ever wondered what we talked about before, right before the show on Sundays,
Sorry, I'm flickering here and I've got to get this thing replaced.
right before the show on Sundays is when I hear about Canada Goose.
You know, if you're going to buy something and it's going to be super expensive and you're going to think about it and it's going to take some time for you to afford. Don't you want it to freaking work? Brock, I can't open this damn.
Hold on.
I got it, I think. I'm really worried about the flickering. Gee whiz.
Do you need help? Apparently not.
I'm going to throat punch somebody. All right. Guys got me now? You good? Hi. All right, let me tell you guys about bodybyAim360.com. Let me tell you guys about the genetic testing, $499, all right? You look at that and you're like, it's never a good time to spend $499. I get you. But this is the most non-invasive, most intense result DNA test you'll have. And they test for all of these different biomarkers, all of these different things in your body that come from your parents. You're passing on to your children. And this particular test gives you kind of a green, yellow, red kind of strategy on looking at whether or not you have the propensity to be obese, to become very overweight, right? If you have a green, you're in good shape. If you're yellow, you're on your way. And if you're red, it's like, oh, snap. It's that way for alcoholism. It's that way for cancer. It's that way for all of these things. You get these almost like predictions, ideas of where you are genetically in your DNA to develop problems down the road. It is such an eye opener. And the whole point of it is to change your behavior, get supplementation to get off that path to live happy and healthy forever. BodyByAim360.com. It's called AIM Print. No blood draw, no needles, no doctor's appointment. Literally add it to your cart. It ships it to you. It looks like this. And all of the details are inside. Changes your everything. 412-227-9255. BodyByAim360.com. This is huge. Game changer. Game changer. All right.
Deep breath.
Time, which is the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And mine is the southwestern slice called Pittsburgh. You do not know that we have a new mayor whose job number one, right after his inauguration last week, was basically to declare war on ICE. We will not cooperate with immigrations and customs enforcement agents when and if they come to the Steel City. Not going to participate. Really? Really? Is that what you think, Corey? Who put you up to that? This is very interesting. His name is Corey O'Connor. Brock and I have found it particularly intriguing that a top person in his administration happens to be the daughter of Governor Josh Shapiro, who just graduated from college. Why else would a 22-year-old bounce up to a top job in a mayoral administration? Seems logical, isn't it? Of course not. It's the pay-to-play garbage that happens. And Corey O'Connor, if he wants to be the Democrat mayor who's going to further drive this city into the toilet and create an exodus, the likes of which can only be seen in California right now with the billionaires fleeing, yes? This is what you get when you live in a blue sanctuary city of suck. You get people who say, we're not going to cooperate. I don't care if there are criminal, illegal alien rapists on the street. We will not cooperate with ICE. Really? Day number one, that is your objective. Message heard loud and clear, Mr. Mayor. You hack, right? He didn't come out and say, you know what, we believe in a safe Pittsburgh. We believe in a place where you should be able to be outside. You should be safe. You should have opportunity. You shouldn't have to worry about the drug zombies. You shouldn't worry about where the homeless are. We should work together to clean that stuff up. God forbid you had a Democrat mayor who ever came out and said that stuff. He's all about the restrictions and all the things that we're not going to do. Well, tell me, why the hell do I pay taxes? If the federal government is trying to remove people who make my family, my street, my neighborhood unsafe, why would you counter that and then ask me to pay you to not do anything? Kind of feels like Canada Goose all over again, getting bent over. I want you to hear Anonymous. This is the X account Anonymous, who breaks down the Insurrection Act. It's a very interesting 2-minute explainer of the historical context of a very important trump card this president has that he could play. He would be justified in using it. Historically, it's been done before with great success. But I think we should all be educated on the cards that may soon be on the table. Listen.
Let's set the record straight. The Insurrection Act isn't a loophole. It's the law. It's the safeguard our founders built to preserve the Union when states refuse to protect the rights of their citizens or enforce federal law. Under normal conditions, the military doesn't act as police. That's what the Posse Comitatus Act prevents. But when governors or mayors abandon their duty, when violence, defiance, or political theater make enforcement impossible, the Insurrection Act allows the president to act, not to conquer the states, but to restore order, protect citizens, and reestablish the rule of law. Here's how it works. There are 3 legal pathways for invoking it. 1, when a state requests help during rebellion or unrest. 2, when federal law can't be enforced by normal means because of obstruction or rebellion. And 3, when state leaders refuse to protect constitutional rights or defy federal authority altogether. Before troops move, the president must first issue a public proclamation ordering agitators to disperse, a final warning before action. It's not martial law. Civilian government continues. Military's role is supportive, not supreme. And the president's power is still bound by the Constitution, judicial review, and public accountability. The act has been used by Presidents Jefferson, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, and Bush Sr., always to uphold the law when local leaders failed to. Today, as some governors and mayors threaten federal officers, ignore immigration law, and even promise to prosecute ICE agents, the stage is set for another showdown. If that moment comes, the Insurrection Act is the legal mechanism that defines where state defiance ends and federal authority begins. My friends, we are all anonymous, and remember, law without enforcement is chaos, and the Insurrection Act exists to prevent exactly that.
When governors or mayors abandon their duty, it's part of your charter. It's part of the Pittsburgh Charter. There is a structure of law and order. And it is incumbent upon the leaders of the city. If you're listening to me, Mayor O'Connor, which I'm sure you're not, you're probably with, who knows your constituents, promising this or that, which never moves the needle for the benefit of we the people. The president has every right to invoke the Insurrection Act to restore the rule of law. And all of the unrest that we're seeing right now is almost mind-bendingly boggling. If you watch the video of the young, malignant woman protesting ICE, who decided to follow the agents around all day, agitate, incite, block traffic, put her car in reverse, and then slam it into drive, aiming at a federal agent. If you haven't seen the video of her dancing in her vehicle in the moments before that happened, before she was shot and killed, get educated. It's all about law and order. To the left, it's all about shaping a bogus narrative. Renee Good was a kamikaze Karen. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right, let's talk. This is a great time. Okay, I was looking at gold prices and silver prices over the weekend. It's fun to watch. It is interesting, the ups and downs and whatnot. It's been quite a bit of ups. WendyLovesGold.com. We'll see where we are today. So there are a lot of gold people out there, a lot of silver folks, people who are involved in precious metals. And it was kind of interesting when they approached me at Texas Bullion Exchange a couple years ago and asked if I'd be interested in chatting with them. I was really not at all schooled at all in precious metals. And they gave me a 45-minute conversation where I learned more in those 45 minutes than I don't know if I could have possibly gotten that much of an education on my own. And I walked away and I said to Joe, my husband, I was like, I really like this company. I like how they do business. I like how they inform you. And I like how they want to be a part of your family's future. They don't want to just have you buy some precious metals or get them in your portfolio. They want to be a part of your investment strategy for life, right? And so they want to be with you. They want to know your goals. 855-927-5557. That is our number to them. They know you're connected to me if you call that number. You will not regret it. 855-927-5557. WendyLovesGold.com. Gold is up $125 an ounce right now. It's up at 46. Silver is up 6.5, up at $86. Brock has nearly tripled in a little over a year the value of his silver bar that he got for his birthday last year. That's pretty amazing. WendyLovesGold.com. That's the direct connection. 855-927-5557. You'll love them too. They're great. So this is the bombshell. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is set to resign within the next week, according to multiple reports within the Walz campaign. Is there a secret anymore? Like, honestly, there is only one way to keep a secret. It is to tell no one ever of your plan, ever. If you're going to kill somebody, tell nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And if you tell somebody something, kill them too.
Yeah, you'll have to kill them too, because you're hosed the minute your lips start flapping, right? I'm just saying. Just saying. Look at us. We've got 5555 on watching live, and then I just looked and we had 333 over there on Twitter. You guys are telling me something? Is my angel spirit telling me something? I love that stuff. You know I do. I'm all into tarot cards and all that wacky stuff. I think it's great. Okay.
Oh, boy.
You're like, she's crazy.
No, I'm just reading here. 26 Republican senators voted against codifying Doge foreign aid.
These are the people who need to be eliminated. Who do
Tim
we have?
Tim Burchett is going to lose his shazizzle.
Let's see if we can find that. Can you send me that?
Thune's one of them.
Of course. Tillis, Murkowski,
Right.
Rand Paul.
No, I think Rand Paul.
The Festivus for the rest of us. He's one of those guys who's not going to fall for it.
McCormick.
He's a
Langford, McConnell.
You know what?
Scott.
Hey, Dave McCormick, come on my show. Explain to me your vote.
Grassley.
Explain to me. Right?
Lindsey Graham.
Dirtbag.
Mullins. You got to go. I'm done
Mark
with your
Wayne
talking.
Mullen. Yeah, I'm not playing you anymore. This is where you are.
Two sides out of your face. 1 minute you're destroy the filibuster. Next minute,
no.
Let's keep giving foreign aid.
We can't do that. And you're like, is that so? Is that so? Yeah,
McCormick is going to end up. We're going to find out real fast. He's a rhino.
I mean, honest to God, what would it take? I don't understand why it's so hard to go to Congress and stay who you are.
Right, because the people will vote for you.
What do they come to you with? A treasure chest? Honest to God, could you cash in? Could you cash in knowing that you promised people who voted for you a bill of bullcrap that you're not going to be able to deliver? Honestly, would you be able to do? I wouldn't be able to do that. I don't know. I've never thought myself as being morally supreme. Like I'm such an extraordinary, fantastic unicorn of a human being. But the more I look around, I'm like, yo.
I think of it this way. Think of people like that are really hardcore, get stuff done. Tim Burchett, my girl from Wyoming.
Mm-hmm. Harriet Hageman.
Yes. How much do you think they have to spend on getting reelected?
Oh, I think it's incessant.
But really, do you really need you do what you say you're going to do? Mm-hmm. I can't imagine Tim Burchett has to spend much money to get reelected.
No, I would personally come and throttle Tennessee.
Yes. I mean,
I wouldn't have to. The state knows what's going on a lot more than Pennsylvania does. You know, and just the sheer inane commentary at some of these protests. You really do have to take a step back and be like, you realize that we look at you and we pity you. Like, I pity you. There's no coming back into the fray. You've wandered beyond the perimeter, right? You're finding Nemo. You went well beyond
The reef.
Right? You went well beyond. And I'm not so sure we can have you back. I don't
I'm
want
not
you
sure
back.
we want you. Right.
I
don't
didn't really want you to begin with. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, there is that fine line between always sounding angry and just being exhausted and pitying people. I'm kind of crossed over into that pity, exhausted area. I mean, you have to be able to. And let's talk about what you and I were thinking when we first caught wind of this officer-involved shooting in Minneapolis, right? Somebody in a car gets shot and killed by an ICE agent. Well, as a conservative, my number one vibe on it is the person was obviously mucking around and they found out. There was somebody who was in danger and it was an ICE agent. ICE agent opened fire. However, right, I want to see the video. I want to hear from people who were there. I want to hear different points of view. I want to see different angles. This is the ultimate like recorded age. Everybody has a phone out. Everybody's recording something. Let's see the evidence. Let's listen to what happened in the officer's mouth, right? And let's make a decision. See, the left doesn't do that. The left doesn't they don't stop. They don't contemplate. They don't want all of the facts. They want an excuse to be angry. And I don't know. Did you not get enough hugs? Is there something missing in your life? Was there some tenderness that was missing? Some bond? And so now you're just angry and your fists are always clenched? And you bounce from one activist group to another to, I don't know, get paid and just be malignant? I don't get it. All the while you have children at home. It just doesn't make sense. And the people out there who are paying attention to it and seeing it very clearly, I'm not surprised that there are black men and women all over the place who seem to be flooding my Twitter feed with common sense. It's very basic. Now, they swear an awful lot, all of the people who we have audio clips of today. There was an awful lot of bleeping and editing on Brock's part because I think there is a fever pitch of just sheer crazy insanity. And people on the right are like, you've got to be kidding us. So we're going to start with some sound here, okay? This is Trace Gallagher over at Fox over on the weekend. He's got a segment called the Common Sense Department. And this is when the new video, the officer's point of view video, shows exactly what happened. It shows Renee Good dancing in the car, shows her wife being a malignant, lesbian agitator, saying, oh, go ahead, big boy, like whatever, trying to agitate these cops or these ICE agents, and then hitting the gas and him opening fire on her. And it absolutely destroys any narrative that she was just some innocent mom who got snarled in a detour and couldn't get around this roadblock. And this mean ICE agent went after her. This is what's going on, people. In no world is that even close to the truth, right? So listen to Trace Gallagher calling it out, saying, so we were right all along. We were right. Yeah, we were right, Trace. Listen.
Well, it turns out the Fox News and Common Sense Department was right. The Department of Homeland Security was right. And Minnesota politicians were wrong. Again, it's becoming a pattern. 24 hours ago, Minnesota authorities were telling us the woman who was shot and killed by federal law enforcement, 37-year-old Renee Good, was not an activist and was only near the ICE activity because she was dropping off her child. Now we know that Renee Good was part of ICE Watch, a group that monitors and interferes with ICE operations. And before the shooting, she was monitoring and interfering with ICE operations. And video from the officer's perspective backs up pretty much every detail, providing key evidence that Good and her wife were impeding and taunting ICE. And when law enforcement told Good to get out of her car, Good decided instead to aggressively use her car. And in the process, she struck law enforcement, who then opened fire. The mayor of Minnesota, who initially claimed the officer was never hit, now says the officer was barely hit. So now self-defense depends on the severity of the strike? Common sense thinks when you change your story from the wheels were turned away from the officer to the officer only suffered a minor injury, It's time to tone down the rhetoric, own up to the mistake, and say you were wrong. Again.
Say you were wrong again? Well, don't hold your breath. I want you to hear this gentleman. He says, look, talking about the hypocrisy. He says, don't laugh about bullets when it's your enemy, as in Charlie Kirk. And then cry about due process when it happens to someone on your team. Listen.
Now you see how fast some tables can turn? How quick people can choke on their own words when reality smacks them right in the mouth. Let's take a trip down memory lane real quick, shall we? Because when it was Ashley Babbitt, the script was already written, right? Oh, she got what she deserved. No sympathy, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Then Trump jokes after an assassination attempt they shouldn't have missed. Crowd laughs, memes. Then Charlie Kirk, protect your neck, singing, cheering, vibes immaculate. Halloween costumes. Violence is funny then, huh? Death is comedy when it's politically convenient. But now a new POV drops instead of Twitter theories. Not spin, not vibes, actual video of what went down. Irrefutable POV. And suddenly it's whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's slow down. Let's wait for the facts. Let's not jump to conclusions. Don't laugh about bullets when it's your enemy, and then cry about due process when it's your team. You don't meme someone's death one year and then demand compassion the next, like it's a morality light switch.
You and I all saw the people celebrating, the teachers, the nurses, the students, the toxic white college educated liberal chicks, the scourge, dancing, having fun. Death is comedy when it's apparently politically convenient, which is disgusting. How about this? Stopping the victim nonsense. This is Black America seeing what's going on here very clearly. Listen.
Gang, and yes, that ICE agent in Minnesota was defending himself. What the hell is wrong with y'all? What wasn't y'all watching? Was our ass watching the same video? And why was she blocking off the street? Y'all getting y'all ass on this internet talking about she was a mother of three. She knew she was a mother of three before she pulled the she pulled. Why was she blocking off the street? Why did she try to pull off when the agent was holding on to her car? She tried to run them over. What is going on? We all seen the same video. Stop this shit. And the same ones on this internet screaming for the federal agent, the ICE agent, to get locked up because he defended himself. Y'all ass was just on this internet and still is on this internet making fun of Charlie Kirk because of what happened to him, because your ass got butt hurt because he told y'all ass the truth. Y'all still spitting on that man's grave, talking about, oh, he was racist because he was honest. He was honest with everybody, not just the black community. But again, what people tell y'all don't want to hear, y'all want to assassinate their character. Y'all want to destroy their legacies. Y'all talking about, oh, she was a mother of three. Again, she knew she was a mother of three before she decided to go out there and like, hey, let me go over here and run some motherfuckers over. What is wrong with y'all? What is wrong with y'all? Stop this victim.
And speaking of victims, if all of you were out there protesting for her, why did nobody get out who was there and try to tell Renee Good to stop doing what she was doing? Listen.
Even if it wasn't a federal agent, what do you think gonna happen if you try to run over somebody with a firearm? Do you think that's smart? She knew exactly what she was doing. And all the people out there complaining, why the hell y'all ain't try to intervene and tell her ass to get out the intersection? Why it take for the ICE agents to pull up and do all that? Y'all like getting out there causing a disturbance, and then as soon as some hit the fan, then y'all ass want to start the waterworks. But always remember, before y'all start this performance, all this weird ass marching and y'all are not the party of peace. We seen y'all real sad before the incident with Charlie Kirk. But y'all really showed y'all ass around that time. Again, say them damn tears. Respect law enforcement. Respect authority. What y'all think gonna happen? Come on now, I'm not even a federal agent. I'm telling you, if you try to run me over and I got that hot shit on me, trust me, it ain't gonna end well.
You are not the party of peace. And we knew that long before Charlie Kirk, he said. This gentleman on the right, he goes, look, we want to know the facts before we decide. The left will tell you anything, fall for everything to convey a narrative that is simply not believable.
Okay, regardless of where you are on the political spectrum, when you found out that an ICE agent had shot and killed a woman in Minneapolis, you had some preconceived notions. If you were on the right, you were probably thinking that, well, Given my understanding of the context and ICE carrying out its duties, chances are it was probably justified. But then you wanted to learn about the context. You wanted to see pictures. You wanted to see video. You wanted to see video from multiple angles. You wanted to get some idea of what had actually been going on and led up to this moment, because you wanted to determine logically whether or not your preconceived notion was accurate. And based off of what I've seen coming from the left, you cared about none of that. The only thing that mattered was that it was an ICE agent and a woman protesting ICE. And that's all you needed to know. Video didn't matter. Context didn't matter. History didn't matter. None of it mattered. It was all a question of whether or not it fit and helped your narrative. And if the answer was yes, then that's what you repeated. And if the answer was no, well, that was something to be ignored or manipulated. And this is why I'm just not all that concerned about the analysis or moral ramblings of people on the left anymore. Once you become uninterested in the facts, evidence, and context of a particular case and look at it purely through the lens of whether or not it helps your ideological narrative, you're no longer a reasonable person. You're just an ideologue. And so what's the point of trying to have a conversation to convince one another when you have literally set up conditions where you cannot be convinced? And that's where we're at.
There is no conversation. There is no meeting in the middle. There is no anything. It is rabid lunacy and not. You know, Democrats, though, all of the wrong heroes. Why are all of them just awful human beings? I don't know much about Renee Good, but the older millennial dug up some stuff about why she didn't have custody of her kids. Listen.
Hey, just a little tidbit about the left's new hero. Yeah, she only has custody of one of her kids. And the reason she only has custody of one is that her domestic partner, a woman, yeah, she likes to beat the shit out of kids and put cigarettes out on their arm. And she chose that woman over her kids. Yeah, the court was basically like, hold on, if you're going to stay with her, you don't get to keep the kids. And she was like, yeah, that's fine. So when people were asking, why was this mother not at home taking care of her children? It's because her children were taken away from her. Because her partner likes to beat the shit out of them and use their arms as ashtrays. Like, it's amazing to me that every hero of the left turns out to be an awful human being. Like, that's not surprising, but it's the reality. Because anybody that would believe in the ideology that the left believes, anybody that would take action and try to run over a federal agent, yeah, I could assume that they were an idiotic piece of shit. But I have to say that the level of choosing your partner over your children, of staying with someone who likes to beat the shit out of your kids, that's a new level.
Literally every day. There's an even more egregious example that if you're obviously paying attention and you live in common sense land, Realville, you see very clearly. And more of us see it very clearly. And those who don't are out protesting. Protesting ICE agents arresting criminal illegal alien rapists, murderers, pedophiles, human traffickers, drug dealers. Really? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, you know, there was a second shooting involving ICE. The other one was in Portland last week. And the media tried to make this a married couple fleeing from the clutches of evil ICE. Yeah, about that. No. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I don't really think maintaining your blood pressure and giving you fantastic, perfect inline blood pressure is the objective of bloodflow7.com. I'm pretty sure that the objective of this dietary supplement that I take, which is phenomenal, I take it every day, bloodflow7.com/Wendy. If you don't think a product that says, you know what we do is we open up your blood vessels, so there's just simply more blood volume going all over your body, and you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it when you do things that involve your heart rate, exercise, things that involve stamina, focus, right? Strength, lasting, whether it be through a set at the gym or shoveling snow. You're going to notice it. I guarantee you, you're going to notice it. I wasn't in the realm of lowering your blood pressure, but a friend of ours said that's exactly what happened. And talking about when she started in September taking Blood Flow 7. And she even sends me a copy of her EKG, right? And she shows me exactly what's going on. And It's crazy. And she's like, Wendy, thank you so much. I'm going to go off of blood pressure medication because of this product. Hell yeah. Right? That's not why I'm taking it. That's not why I've given it to my sons, the Alpha Gold male version, which has to do with testosterone, which, by the way, changes after a certain age. Nip it in the bud, right? Get your strength, get your blood flowing, get your heart pumping, and feel phenomenal. I'm telling you, every single day I take this. I will not stop. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Try 1 month and send me an email. wendybellradio@gmail.com. You're going to say, oh my gosh, I thought you were full of it. And so I was going to go and try and prove you wrong, but I now am addicted. I don't crash at 3 p.m. anymore. I'm wide awake and I sleep like a, what again?
Boulder.
A boulder, not a rock, a boulder. That's how I sleep. Boulder. Boulder. I'm doing better with sleep. How about you, Brock? Like I slept, like I normally would get about 5 hours of sleep a night. I'm now in the realm of 6 to 6.5.
That's where I'm at.
Which is good. It's weird times. I haven't moved my clock all the way yet, but after 5 years of waking up at 2:30 in the morning, it's kind of hard to break that, but it's starting and it's great. So thank you for that.
The difference for me is when the alarm goes off, I don't feel like I have to jump up.
Oh, you don't feel because the show is later that there's so much stress on the now.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's helpful.
Like I feel like, okay, you know, I mean, I'm usually up by 5 anyways, but
oh yeah, absolutely.
I can't say that I really hear my alarm.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? And you're not panicked that you're going to oversleep, because the most you'll oversleep is like 20 minutes. And when was the last time you slept until 5:20? 6 years, right?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while. It's great to be with you guys. Thank you. Thank you. So I guess Dan Bongino put out his rundown. Is that right? He's promoting all of his own people.
Yeah.
And I guess the young lady who, I guess he's been promoting or whatever, we're going to go up against her, which is great. I'm confident in my abilities, Brock's abilities, your abilities. I think it'll be fun when you guys go on his show and then encourage everybody on there to follow along with us. Be like, now jump over to this show. Because I know some of you will be sweet enough to do that. And I love you. Hi, 6084 on Rumble. It's great to be with you. Hello. Thank you. I know a lot of you feel the way I do, in that this whole inane conversation about law enforcement caused by Joe Biden's open border and the bringing of all of these strangers in, so many criminals, so many dangerous people, the ambivalence of the Biden administration to check on anybody, not caring about the ramifications, not caring about the collateral damage. Joe Biden not even knowing Laken Riley's name. It's so insulting. It's like being Nick Shirley and having a Somalian who's ripping you off blind call the cops on you, the taxpayer, for asking questions about what's going on. It is audacious. It's got to stop. Jonathan Turley is a wonderful speaker. He writes great articles. He's a law professor, if I'm not mistaken, at George Washington University. And he wrote an article about this Portland police chief. He cried. The police chief literally cried in a press conference after confirming the ICE agent's account of nearly being run over in Portland from 2 illegal Trende Aragua gang members who are Trende Aragua freaking prostitute gang members. Like, what? Honestly, before you even know what's going on, if you find out that the people that ICE is detaining are criminals with criminal records and the dude has a deportation order and the chick is an illegal too and should be bounced as well, and then you find out that they're not a married couple the way the media wants it to portray, right? Oh, ICE agents, mean old ICE agents shot unarmed people. No. I want to read this to you. In Portland, from Jonathan Turley. In Portland, protests have raged after the shooting of 2 suspects being pursued by ICE officers. Media accounts immediately portrayed the shooting as excessive force on an Hispanic couple in their car, like a Maryland man, right? Later, Portland Police Chief Bob Day admitted that they withheld the suspected gang associations of the couple despite the early misleading accounts. Wiping away tears, Day said that he didn't want to contribute to the, quote, injustice. Injustice of what? DHS officials say Luis David Nico Moncado and Yorlanes Betsabeth Zambranco Contreras are Venezuelan criminal illegal aliens and are believed to be members of the violent gang Tren de Aragua. Moncada allegedly entered the U.S. illegally in 2022 and was arrested. However, the Biden administration released him despite his record. Right? Should we have a conversation starting there? At the time of the incident, he had a final order of removal. Zambrano Contreras, the chick passenger in the car, allegedly entered the U.S. illegally 2023. She was also released by the Biden administration. She allegedly played an active role in Tren de Aragua prostitution ring and was previously accused of involvement in a shooting in Portland. And you want to go to bat for these people. The police chief, to the point where he's crying, admitting it. Oh my goodness. The ICE officers say they wounded the two after they tried to run over the officers. They were later found by the Portland Police Bureau. The wounded couple, right? Disgusting scumbags. By the way, prostitution, Tren de Aragua prostitution isn't like you're making money. You're a slave to the trade, okay? If we can all just be on the same page here, right? Who we're defending. The ICE officer said they wounded the two after they tried to run the officers over. A couple was later found by the Portland Police Bureau, taken to a hospital. DHS called the description of the two injured as a married couple revolting lies, declaring that the two criminal illegal aliens who attacked Border Patrol in Portland are a gang member and his prostitute, not an innocent married couple. The shooting immediately triggered protests. Of course it did. Because that's all the left does. They didn't wait for the truth. They didn't wait for the details, wait for the mugshots and the criminal background of these people. It was an ICE-involved shooting. And therefore, ICE is Nazi. ICE is evil. ICE is down. So we're going to go protest ICE. This is the lunacy. In his press conference, Chief Day admitted that the Portland Police Department hesitated to disclose the suspected gang connection because it didn't want to be accused of historic injustice of victim blaming by law enforcement. This is what women do to a society. They browbeat you into an emasculated position where you're always on your heels. You're always deferring to someone else, worried that you might be labeled something. Oh, I don't want you to call me discriminatory. I don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think about me. I don't care. If you're a criminal and you're here in my country illegally, get out. And if you decide to turn your car into a weapon, you better believe you are lucky that the bullet didn't kill you. Because, quite frankly, I wouldn't care if it did. And that does not make me even the remotest unfeeling, right? It makes me a common sense conservative mom. Don't put my family in danger. And if you're a cop, how dare you lie about it so as to not be painted as discriminatory. It's the wussification of this country, guys. When we come back, hour 2. It's about the outrage economy, isn't it? Serving whatever we can to feed the animal. Well, it got fed over the weekend. I got the details next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Well, we didn't want to create more problems, so we lied about it. We didn't cover it. We didn't tell you about them.
Breaking, if it is or not, I don't know. Senate Democrats are threatening to shut down the government again over ICE and DHS funding. See, they want to upset you and think nothing is getting done because of Donald Trump. And that's just not the case.
All of the financial things that he pulled last week, reducing credit card interest rates down to 10%. I mean, slashing them in half is a giant savings.
I don't know how he pulls it off, but Hey, I'm willing to try.
If that works out, right? And then you're going to, buying back $200 billion in
I think
in
a bigger
loans,
one is stopping
notes.
institutions from buying up.
Stopping Wall
independent-
Street from
yeah.
gobbling up all of your single family homes. So to control the flow of prices. Really? There's so many ways in which this president and this administration are making moves. All eyes on the Supreme Court with that tariff decision for a fact. Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Look, if you live in Southwestern land before time, this is your company, home exterior renovation work. And there's a lot of things that can be done even during the winter months. You'd be surprised. So if you think, it's cold, it's snowy, it's not really a good time to do this, you're totally surprised. Because they will work in lulls. They'll work in the freezing cold as long as it's not as long as it's not slippery or it's not unsafe. They'll do anything. Put in all new windows for you, new roofing, new siding, right? Talk about a new look for your house. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Wonderful people. We completely endorse them. 5-star review. I've given multiple 5-star reviews because they've been to my house in serious calamity. Like my basement was flooding. Super.
Trump says threatens to veto the bill passed by the House to give tens of billions of dollars in Obamacare subsidies to insurance companies.
Oh.
He's putting them all on notice.
Got to expose yourself.
You've got to vote for this now.
You got to vote. Show us what your vote is. Show us who you are. Show us. Show us Corey O'Connor. Show us. Oh, you're going to go with ICE. You're going to go against ICE.
You know who his chief of staff is? The same chief of staff of Bill Potato Head or Peduto. It's the same people.
Gilman?
Yes, it's the same people.
Dan Gilman, yes, who lives in my neighborhood and is a big fat zero. Democrat. Whatevs.
Nothing changes. And it's just not the federal. It's local. Nothing changes. The same people run. The same people get elected. And the same people bitch that nothing gets done.
Yes.
And say what you want. Why don't you guys run? Or, because you can't get elected here if you're Republican. Even if you run, you can't get elected.
Your literal only recourse
to
move. Is to go somewhere else where your efforts in your community to the benefit of all are worthwhile if you want to get involved. In a sanctuary city, in a blue hellscape, no. There's only one trajectory, and it's down. Nothing's improving. Nothing's getting better. Schools aren't better. Kids aren't better. Streets aren't safer.
Roads aren't
the
better.
medicine isn't better. It's all garbage. It's garbage. And then you get a socialist county executive who comes in on day number 1 and jacks up property taxes by a third.
They're talking about jacking up city taxes.
Yeah.
20%. 20%. Can you imagine if you went to them and said, hey, listen, I don't think it's really fair, so I'm going to cut what I pay you by 20%.
My circumstances have changed.
Yeah.
And I can only now reasonably give you this amount. So that's where it's going to be. Why have there been no homes built in the Pacific Palisades? Did you see the people there protesting?
Wasn't because of the federal government.
About 1,000 people. Trump had that thing done in 48 hours. They lickety-splitted, fast-tracked all of the federal permitting and all of that stuff. They're like, here, it's done. Well, it's almost like California is going to have to hit rock bottom. And I guess if you're insulated from the majority of it, I don't know if you're insulated, but are you insulated? They're doing some meeting in my community to get people active and out on the street protesting for ICE, protesting. We're going to teach you how to be malignant.
No, did you see at the bottom where it said no experience needed?
We can teach you how to throw urine.
Yeah.
In a bottle. It's not hard. Okay.
You
can make a shite ton amount of money.
Yeah.
Brock could eclipse what he makes here, $4. Brock, you could make $1,400 a week doing that. Being a full-time agitator. Plus meet quality people who are just as pissed as you.
I mean, I agitate you for $4
Drive,
a
baby,
week.
drive.
It's just
When you know, you know. And you guys know. 6,500 people on X or on Rumble. Hi. It's great
imagine
that you're here. I'm about to
imagine
hit
you're in a
7,000
neighborhood
today.
and you're in your car and you're carrying, and people come up to your car and start beating on your car. What's your recourse?
Taking out my gun?
Yeah, that's it. They're leaving you no recourse because I can't wait for you to get into my car.
I got 6
or
shots
bust
I
a
can
window.
make. Actually,
6?
I got 8.
15.
I got 8. No, I do have 15.
I got
I
the
do-
extended clip.
I do too. I do
Yeah.
too. I have 15. I beg your pardon.
I got 3 for each of you.
All you need to see is going under here and going
Under.
and well, yours is right here.
I just go.
Yeah.
If anyone's gonna bust my window, it's gonna be me shooting through it.
And I'm not shooting for you to press charges.
And I'm driving off,
Mhm.
and I'll go home and wait for them to show up. I'll wait for the police.
Mm-hmm.
Sit out on my stoop, be like, it's me you're looking for.
This is where we are. Can we get 3,000 Rumbles? Love to have that. Love to hit 7,000 today on Rumble. That would be a big second week goal. We'll see if we can do it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program, wendybellradio.com. Follow along the live video stream. Love to have you during the commercial breaks. I love interacting with you there as well. Join in, join the conversation. Tell me where you're from. Share your ideas. It's great to have you. Welcome. You know, it is all about outrage. Do you notice how horrible you feel when you're carrying something that's like a dark cloud around you? It's like Pigpen from Peanuts, right? No matter where you go, it follows you in this like dark ambiance. It's exhausting. I get jaw pain because I apparently grind my teeth. I clench my jaw. I get headaches. I feel sick to my stomach. I mean, being outraged is a commitment. I'd prefer not to feel that way. And I try to do everything I can to not feel that way. But that is the currency today, outrage. That's what it is. That's the economy, the outrage economy. And the outrage is about law and order, carving back what Joe Biden and the Democrats allowed to happen, right? Base values isn't complicated. There's an article I found on townhall.com, and I think it's really interesting. It's entitled ICE Stories They Don't Tell You. Now, of course, the narrative on the left is that ICE are disappearing people, are horrible people. They are shooting indiscriminately. They hate everybody. It's a bunch of Nazis. It's the Gestapo. Fill in your, horrible phrase du jour that you've heard from the left about immigrations and customs enforcement. But you know as well as I that there is a lot of nuance involved with fixing what the Democrats made so wrong over 4 years. And these agents are tasked with an impossible job. And it's going to make everybody happy? Never. But it's so important. And I wanted you to hear this. Yesterday, federal authorities released mugshots of dozens of individuals taken into custody during a major ICE enforcement operation in Minneapolis. We're talking rapists, murderers, sexual predators, violent offenders. These are people who hurt and kill people, ladies and gentlemen. These aren't just titles. Imagine what a violent offender does. Imagine what a rapist and a pedophile does. These were not traffic violators or people who simply overstayed a visa. These were hardened criminals with records that made them priorities for removal because their continued presence posed a clear danger to public safety. You know, Renee Good, by the way, was protesting that. She was getting in the way of that. Go figure. And yet that reality has been almost entirely buried beneath a single emotionally charged narrative. The national media, they've chosen to focus nearly exclusively on the fatal shooting of Renee Good during that same enforcement operation, portraying her as an innocent victim, while largely ignoring the context of her actions and the purpose of the operation she interfered with. They were doing important work. That woman decided to inject herself, I should say, with deadly consequences. Federal agents weren't conducting a random sweep. They were executing targeted arrests of individuals with violent criminal histories. When a civilian deliberately interferes with that kind of op, the risk level changes instantly for everybody involved. But while the media loops the same footage and the politicians rush to the microphones, another part of the ICE story goes completely untold. In recent weeks, ICE has conducted enforcement actions in New Jersey that look nothing like the caricature painted by the activists. Several undocumented construction workers were encountered by federal agents. One of them, well known in his church community, was detained and deported after acknowledging his unlawful status. The process was orderly, respectful, and notably, the federal government has already offered him a legal pathway to return to the United States. Another worker from the same site was detained briefly. He was questioned and then released back to his family. And here's why. He has no criminal record, not a misdemeanor, not a DUI, not even a speeding ticket. He's paid his taxes for every year he's lived in this country, and he has the receipts to prove it. He has multiple children. One of his sons currently serves in the United States Armed Forces. 2 years ago, this man began the process of applying for legal status. And despite the fact that he's technically here unlawfully, ICE exercised discretion. He was not deported. He was not separated from his family. He was not treated as a threat because he isn't one. No protest marches were organized for him. No national headlines were rewritten, were written. No elected officials held press conferences demanding ICE to be dismantled because of this case. Why? Because that story doesn't serve the outrage economy. ICE is not a monolith. It is not a rogue agency roaming the streets indiscriminately. In Minneapolis, it was focused on removing dangerous criminals. In New Jersey, it demonstrated judgment, restraint, and compassion toward individuals who pose no threat to public safety. Both of those things can be true at the same time, even though the media refuses to acknowledge it. What we are witnessing is not a serious debate over immigration policy. It is a selective presentation of facts designed to provoke emotion while suppressing context. One tragic death is being used to delegitimize an entire enforcement system, even as that system is actively removing rapists and murderers from American communities. Now, I want you to hear this truth-telling woman. She says, look, that groups exist out there, be it indivisible, no kings, whatever the hell it is, that they exist to rile up everyday citizens and basically turn them into political vigilantes should be terrifying to all of us. Listen.
Renee Good was killed during an ICE raid gone terribly wrong, and it is beyond tragic. Everyone obviously has an opinion on this, and I commented on a post where someone said, Renee could have been any one of us, and I simply said, could have never been me, because I don't interfere with federal ICE enforcement. I cited U.S. code, and predictably, I got dragged in the comments. ICE hates you. You're justifying murder. They didn't have a warrant. She had a right to flee. You're next. It was all expected. But guys, ICE agents are federal officers, and under federal law, specifically 18 U.S. Code sections 111 and 372, assaulting, resisting, impeding, or conspiring to interfere with a federal officer doing their job is a crime. That includes blocking them, chasing them, surrounding them, or physically interfering with their operation. Should that get someone shot? No. But can it escalate into deadly consequences? Clearly, yes. And that is a risk far too many civilians are being convinced to take right now. Someone is dead, and that is horrific, no matter how you spin it. The investigation will determine exactly what happened, but people can debate video angles and split-second decisions and alleged ties to ICE watch groups all day long. But regardless of the details of this case, the fact that groups like this exist at all, encouraging civilians to track and confront federal agents, should terrify us.
100%. And she says, and it's the women, these suburban moms, these wine drinking soccer moms who are taking the bait when people who benefit from chaos sit back and watch.
We've normalized the idea that suburban moms can grab their phone, hop in their Kia Telluride, and pull alongside an active enforcement operation against trained agents with guns and somehow expect to walk away untouched because someone told them that that's activism. That is insane. This lie is pushed by people who benefit from chaos, media outlets doing it from behind cozy desks, chasing outrage and headlines, politicians doing it from comfortable offices, chasing votes, and loud and wrong content creators doing it from behind their phones, chasing clicks, with no understanding of the law they're encouraging others to break. They're using compassionate people as fuel. You don't have to like ICE. You don't have to support immigration enforcement. But deporting people who are here illegally is not new. It has existed under every administration, including Obama, our deporter-in-chief. What is new is convincing everyday civilians, moms in their cars, bystanders in the street, that stepping between an armed federal officer and his mission is smart, righteous, or consequence-free. That is not bravery. That is not activism. That is delusion, and it has now gotten someone killed. Political battles belong in elections, courts, and legislatures, not in the streets. And for the love of God, please stop letting people who profit from outrage convince you to risk your life for their headlines.
Is that the best thing you've heard in forever? Absolutely, yes. And by the way, Tom Homan is undeterred. The borders are saying over the weekend, if you live in a sanctuary city, we're coming. Trust me.
I'll say it again. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. And I'm going to work very hard with Secretary Noem to keep President Trump's promise and his commitment several weeks ago that sanctuary cities are now our priority. We're going to flood the zone. You don't want to let us into jail to arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a jail. You want to release him into the street, which makes it unsafe for the community, makes it unsafe for the officer, makes it unsafe for the alien. Anything can happen on a street arrest. So what we're going to do, we'll have more agents in New York City to look for that bad guy. So sanctuary cities get exactly what they don't want, more agents in the community and more agents in the work site. If we can't arrest that bad guy in the safety and security of the county jail, then we'll arrest him in the community, and we'll arrest him in the jail. And when we arrest him in the community, if he's with others that are in the country illegally, they're coming too.
You know, I got a list of some of the people that ICE in Minneapolis, while Renee Good and her wife were agitating and egging on officers and trying to kill them with their car. Who these people were who got picked up. Wait until I read some of these people's backgrounds. And then you tell me, is ICE going too far? Or are you wondering, why haven't they been there sooner? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I think it's interesting that Caitlin Collins is the one who's going to be asking this question of Trump on Air Force One. She asks him, are you going to be sharing information with Minneapolis, with Jacob Fry, and with Tim Walz? And he flat out was like, no, I'm not. They're corrupt. They're criminals. They can't be trusted. These are dumb people, not trustworthy, and they're corrupt. No, they do not get the details, and they can suck it. I was like, I voted for that. All right, MCT Wellness. This is it, guys. This is perhaps the answer for you and some of your weight loss issues. Significant weight loss. I'm not talking about 5 pounds, 8 pounds. You could do that with some sit-ups and a salad, right? Pretty much. You can change some behaviors, lose 5 to 8 pounds, not a problem. This is if you want to lose significant weight and you're not interested in any kind of shots. Dr. Gundry, who is a pediatric heart surgeon, he does heart transplantation, just phenomenal human being, super bright. And he's done so many videos. He put together this great video about this product he's put out. It's called MCT Wellness, but he puts it underneath thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. And it goes through all these things about you and your body and your eating and some of the things that you think that you're doing that are healthy, that are absolutely derailing your opportunity to lose weight before you even get started. And I was like, what? And then he's like, if you want help, try my drink. Drink it once a day, twice a day, in lieu of a meal, maybe. Yes, I do it in lieu of lunch. And drink this and tell me about how much weight you lose, because he lost 70 pounds. It is a slow, steady weight loss. It is over many months. But if you lost a pound every 3 or 4 days, how jazzed would you be? In 2.5 weeks, you could be down 5 pounds. Yeah. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. I drink it every day. You know this because I tell you, but it's important. And you can get it. And I believe there's even a nice little discount offered there for you, 20% off. I trust Dr. Gundry. I like the doctors that we've partnered with. I trust them. I don't trust that many doctors anymore.
Can I say someone, I didn't get your name, so I'll give you a shout out if I had your name. When we were talking about if your car got surrounded.
Yes.
They said, I have 21 freedom seeds to plant. That's the line of the day. I love it. Yeah.
Well, I will say this. This whole thing is like, it has to become so ridiculous because the Democrats already work in this fantasy reality that's just so unbelievable. Them taking a knee with the kente cloths on. Really? All the monuments to George Floyd. Really? Did you see the guy on the street in Minneapolis covering the riots and such? Was the same guy who was covering the George Floyd ones, where it was mostly peaceful protests?
Yeah.
He was the guy who was out there wearing like ski goggles and like a respirator. And he's like, no, everything I've seen so far is mostly peaceful. As the building behind him is like this crematorium. It's like on fire. I'm like, okay.
The thing that agitates me about Pittsburgh right now is that they're saying he's coming out on day one saying we won't cooperate with ICE, but they've done nothing about the South Side where I live. That's become a hole.
Hey, I got fired in 2016 for talking about black on black crime in my neighborhood. You know what's still going on in my neighborhood? Black on black crime.
Oh, they'll fix it, I'm sure.
Nothing changed. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. So ICE has provided a list of some of the more egregious criminal illegal aliens that they've arrested during their surge in the sanctuary state of Minnesota. And it is the most disturbing list you'll ever see, including numerous convicted child rapists and sodomizers, 10 convicted killers, most with deportation orders going back many years, several from Laos, Somalia, and Sudan. Ready for a couple of these? I want to read you some. Bear with me because it's disturbing. But these are the people who ICE is picking up off the street. I wonder, would Renee Good feel good that these criminals weren't in any way endangering her child? I don't know. Here's one guy, Laotian illegal alien, somebody from Laos, convicted of strong-arm sodomy of a boy. You can imagine what that is. The boy wasn't a willing accomplice. And strong-arm sodomy of a girl with a deportation order since 2018. He's been here for 8 years, longer than his stay. Here's another Laotian illegal alien convicted of sexual assault and sodomy of a girl under age 13. And procuring a child for prostitution. This dude was, since 2006, had an order to be deported. Here is another Laotian, convicted of the strong-arm rape of a 12-year-old girl and kidnapping of a child. Here's another one, convicted of strong-arm rape, aggravated assault with a weapon, and strangulation. Another convicted of rape and child fondling with a deportation order since 2003. These aren't great, tidy neighbors who are working at the Home Depot helping you find your lumber. They're out there finding little kids and raping them. Here's a Somalian illegal convicted of homicide. Here's a Salvadoran illegal convicted of 3 counts of homicide with a deportation order. A Mexican illegal convicted of homicide. Guy was previously deported in 2002. Really? Here's a guy convicted of 2 counts of homicide. Here's somebody, a Sudanese illegal convicted of homicide. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Manslaughter, attempt to commit homicide, negligent homicide with a vehicle, DUI, negligent homicide. Like, those are just a handful. ICE says all of these criminal aliens were roaming freely in the sanctuary state of Minnesota prior to their arrest. Now, what if one of these guys saw your son or daughter or walking to school? What if they happen to be in the neighborhood? Do you want them there? Of course not. Caitlin Collins, CNN, Air Force One, over the weekend, asking President Trump, you know, there's some talk that you and the FBI aren't going to be sharing the details of this fatal shooting in Minneapolis with the mayor and the police chief there. Is that true? Listen to the president.
Do you believe that the FBI should be sharing evidence with state officials in Minnesota?
Well, normally I would, but they're crooked officials. I mean, Minneapolis and Minnesota, what a beautiful place, but it's being destroyed. It's got an incompetent governor, fool. I mean, he's a stupid person. And it looks like the number could be $19 billion stolen from a lot of people, but largely people from Somalia. They buy their vote. They vote in a group. They buy their vote. They sell more Mercedes-Benzes in that area than almost. Can you imagine you come over with no money and then shortly thereafter you're driving a Mercedes-Benz? The whole thing is ridiculous. So they're very corrupt people. It's a very corrupt state.
So he wasn't on Air Force One during that one, but he's got another one, got another bite of his coming. So he's like, no, they're corrupt. Why am I going to share? Excuse me. Why am I going to share information about this with them? It's sort of like, why are we going to give Congress details of us taking out Maduro? Do we believe that we can trust those people? Even if national security of the United States of America is in jeopardy, do you believe that a Democrat could keep that quiet? Hell no. Do you know what's going on in my neighborhood? This is going on tomorrow, 6 to 9 p.m., tactical training in the art of civil disobedience. This is being put out by the City of Pittsburgh Commission on Human Relations. Isn't that an interesting sidebar of such an organization? Rebirthing civil disobedience. Tactical training in the art of civil disobedience. A practitioner and trainer with extensive experience, that's what it's featured, and a legal advisor and human rights attorney to make sure you can build your muscle, basically, and take on ICE. This is how they're attracting these moms. Come be a Karen kamikaze. Come be a vigilante. Be a soccer mom vigilante. This is how it happens. Are you kidding me? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I mean, it's really? President Trump says, you know what? We're taking Greenland. We're going to take it the easy way or the hard way. How does everybody feel about that? I feel pretty good. Either way, let's go next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Can you imagine if you showed up to that meeting?
Well, I might take Ryan with me.
You take me. You can take me.
Is that so? Got to print that out. What is the City of Pittsburgh Commission on Human Relations? What's that bull crap? That better not be something that's actually sanctioned by the city and funded with taxpayer dollars, because I'll choke someone and throw them down the stairs. Pittsburgh, what is it called again? Pittsburgh, City of Pittsburgh Committee. Such bullshit. Committee on Human Relations. I'll give you freaking human relations. The answer is step out of my way. I'm a federal agent. You do not have the right to obstruct. Move. That's kind of how I feel the human relations should go in this sort of situation. Taxpayer funded. Inquiring minds want to know, don't they? All right, let me tell you guys about Dr. Richard Rafferty and the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh, 412-906-9600. That I've watched Brock for the last 6 weeks or so be very uncomfortable, really struggle with what could be sciatica, some disc problems, some issue with his back and pain down his leg, radiating. And it's been very difficult for him. It's so comforting to know that if he needs to, there is a non-surgical opportunity for whatever his bulging or degenerating disc in his back to grow it back without surgery, without cutting into his back, without risking infection and rolling the dice if the surgery is going to work, or oops, there was a mishap and now you can't walk, right? I'd much rather try the non-surgical treatment, and that's what Dr. Rafferty does. It's called intradisc nutrosis. It's super comforting to know that it's here, but it is here, and it's here for you as well. I would definitely do this before I would have surgery. I would go through every opportunity to not have surgery. 412-906-9600, PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. Let's see. Oh, the City of Pittsburgh's Commission. Oh, it's Commission on Human Relations is a taxpayer-funded municipal agency established by city ordinance in 1955. So what, during civil rights and such? Leading into that? It enforces civil rights laws by investigating discrimination complaints. This must not be it. This says City of Pittsburgh. I said committee. This is the commission. There's got to be something different. Committee. That seems like it's bullcrap.
Oh, whatever would make you think that? City of Pittsburgh Commission on Human Relations.
What did you say?
City of Pittsburgh Commission on Human Relations.
Correct, and it's different than what I got. I got committee. It's like a play. It's a subtle difference, but it's not the same thing. Unless they're stealing what looks like, and these are your usual suspects. This is your divisible, indivisible, D-bags, and also 50501, your Arabella schmucks.
Democratic Socialists of America.
Your pink, your code pink, D-bags, all of this. Come on, women, let's get together. Really? You're going to fight against the agents who want to keep you safe? Because I'll tell you what, if a Trende Aragua goon breaks into your house, ties you up, rapes you, and then kills you, you might have a different thought. I'm just going to say I'd have a different thought. Remember Maura Healey, Michelle Wu, Massachusetts? They were like, if you've got an extra room in your house for one of these people, what could go wrong? Let us know. It'll be fun. It'll be like getting an orphan. Be like getting your own orphan. Okay. Really? Yeah. All right. Let's see how you guys are doing. I haven't spoken to you much. What's up, 24 Diane Sharp? What's going on, Wetbird and Demanda? Hi, Rusty. Rusty retired. Hi, Darius. Hi, Gracie. And Shane. Hi, M. Alligator, Maligator, Q-Fish, and Cher. Hi. Hi, Danae. Esky, what's going on, babe? Codgers. Anybody seen Toolsy? Is Toolsy in the house?
Yeah, he's sleeping.
Yeah, well. Texas Martin Smith, hello. Hi, Grammar Cop. Hi, Vet Gal. Hi, Zegers, PB. Hello from Kentucky, PO54. Hi. Hi, Robert Myers. It's great to see you guys. Hi, Randall. I see you dancing. Hi, babe. Hi, Gino. Hello, Gino. Tessa, hot today, Wendy. I don't know about that, but I'll take it. Hi, Razorback.
Maybe she means hot under the collar.
You know how I always have to read those when somebody says something nice about me? I'm like, I'll read that one. It's pathological. You listen to me in the gym now. All right, Joma. Well, welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, I'll be honest with you. There is a lot going on with Greenland and with Trump wanting it. It goes all the way back to his first administration. And I think we got a video, Brock found a video over the weekend that made a lot of sense to me. It has to do with space. It's not just about the land, the physical land that is Greenland. And President Trump has been playing and making moves on his chessboard that are so much more advanced and beyond where anybody else is. And I'm sure he is outrageously frustrated by the speed with which things actually happen, because it doesn't happen. And now we've got Tom Tillis, one of the senators, saying he's gonna try to hijack or basically throw the towel in on any nominee that President Trump wants to have, like to replace Jay Powell as the head of the Fed, because he's butthurt that Powell is getting investigated for lying under oath about this and that. We're going to talk about that. It's got to be very hard to be the president who sees on a 30,000 foot beyond that. He's up at the International Space Station looking down on all of this. And he's seen it for a while. And he sees all of the people who are gumming up the works and preventing actual change and actual progress to take place. So we found a couple articles that I think are kind of put things into perspective. And then I've got 3 audio sound bites from this president who basically explains, look, we're going to go in, we're going to do something with Greenland. It's not an option. It's not let's just sit down at the table and negotiate, because we've got Russia and we've got China poised to move in there and take over that land. This is what the president said. He says Greenland's defense is literally 2 dog sleds as he pushes for U.S. acquisition of territory. And he warns that Russia and China are going to move in if the United States doesn't act first. So this is an article, Fox News. We'll get through some of this, and then I want you to hear, really, there's a great 1-minute explainer. It's so great to hear. It'll tell you everything that you need to know. President Trump said the U.S. must acquire Greenland, not lease it, arguing that the Arctic territory lacks defenses and warning that Russia or China would move on it if Washington doesn't act now. A move he said is critical to U.S. and to NATO security. He was speaking with reporters on Air Force One Sunday night. He was asked about Greenland and whether the U.S. had made an offer to acquire the territory from Denmark. I haven't done that, President said. Greenland should make the deal Greenland should make the deal because Greenland does not want to see Russia or China take over. Basically, their defense is 2 dog sleds. You know what? You know what their defense is? 2 dog sleds. They have no way to defend themselves. Meantime, you have Russian destroyers and submarines and China destroyers and submarines all over the place, all over the Arctic. We're not going to let that happen. And if it affects NATO, then it affects NATO. But, they need us more than we need them. I will tell you that right now. The president was also clear that his administration isn't talking about leasing space there, leasing Greenland short term, but only about acquiring the Danish territory. If we don't do it, he said, Russia or China will. And that's not going to happen when I'm president, Trump said. The remarks followed renewed pushback from Greenland's leadership, which rejected calls from Trump and members of his administration for the U.S. to take control of the island. Several Trump administration officials have echoed the president's position, arguing that Greenland's strategic location makes U.S. control a national security imperative. The prime minister of Greenland, a guy named Jens Fredrik Nielsen, said and 4-party leaders said Friday night that the island has no interest in becoming part of the U.S. or Denmark, according to the Associated Press. It is a self-governing Danish territory, and longtime U.S. allies repeatedly dismissed Trump's suggestion that the U.S. should acquire the island. Well, according to President Trump, speaking with Peter Doocy asks him a question about maybe a monetary, what's a figure, what's a number that you would put on the table to maybe buy the Danish territory? Is that something that you're considering? Here's the question and the answer.
How much money are you thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor, okay? I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way.
How many times have we heard him say that? He said that to Iran. Like, we could do this the easy way or we could do it the hard way, and Iran said, fungu, and he's like, okay. And how did that work for him? Tried to make a deal with Maduro. He said, look, I know that you're a criminal. You're a murderer. You're a drug kingpin. And I know about other stuff too. But I'll give you an opportunity to escape. You can go to Turkey and live in exile there in luxury. And Maduro laughed at him and said, fungu. And then he found out. There is an obvious strategic reason this president wants Greenland. And he says, look, China and Russia have submarines and destroyers all over the place. And if we don't move, read my lips, they will.
And by the way, I'm a fan of Denmark, too, I have to tell you. And they've been very nice to me. I'm a big fan. But, the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years ago doesn't mean that they own the land. I'm sure we had lots of boats go there also. But we need that because if you take a look outside of Greenland right now, there are Russian destroyers, there are Chinese destroyers and bigger. There are Russian submarines all over the place. We're not going to have Russia or China occupy Greenland, and that's what they're going to do if we don't. So we're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way.
And now, isn't it intriguing? I had not heard prior to the weekend about this strategic positioning of the Chinese and the Russians, submarines underneath the ice there in a holding pattern for what? Right? Now, this is never included in the media account of what the president wants. It's just a headline about how he wants what he wants, and he probably wants to change the name to Trump Land, right? No, but see, what he sees is obviously something so much bigger. And yes, it involves space, and we're going to get out of money. A reporter asks about the need to own the territory, creating this, big footing. And this is what the president said. You take care of things you buy, right? When you lease something or when it's given to you like Section 8 housing, what's the incentive to care for it? When you own it, you take care of it. I'm not here to lease.
Why is it so important to you to own it when you have a military presence there, which you could expand to affect the security?
Because when we own it, we defend it. You don't defend leases the same way. You have to own it. With a nation, look at what happened with Obama, with that horrible deal they made with Iran. It was a short-term deal. It was like a 9-year deal. Countries can't make 9-year deals or even 100-year deals. Countries have to have ownership. And you defend ownership, you don't defend leases. And we'll have to defend Greenland. If we don't do it, China or Russia will. It's not going to happen. We are not going to have, and I like China, I like Russia, I love the people of China, I love the people of Russia. I get along very well with President Putin, but I'm very disappointed in him. I get along very well with President Xi. I'm going to go over to China in April, but I don't want them as a neighbor in Greenland. Not going to happen. And by the way, and NATO's got to understand that. I'm all for NATO. I saved NATO. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have a NATO right now. But we're not going to allow Russia or China to occupy Greenland, and that's what's going to happen if we don't.
There are so many bigger plays going on right now. And yet the left needs us in some fake civil war with one another, fighting over the lawful removal of people who broke the law to come here, many of them terrible people. Not all, but many, right? Fighting over that, and a malignant woman who decided to do all the wrong things that day, the same way George Floyd did. They want us squawking about that, fighting about that. President Trump has his eyes on all of these other countries. And this is where the explainer comes in so well. Here's the best 1-minute explanation about Greenland not being about land, but being about something much more strategic. Enjoy this.
Greenland isn't about land. It's about control of the Arctic and space. When Donald Trump revived his push for Greenland, Europe mocked it. They missed the strategy. Greenland sits on the shortest missile route between Russia and North America. That's why the US runs early warning missile radar there. Arctic ice is melting. By 2035, shipping between Europe and Asia could be 40% faster. Russia already dominates the Northern Sea route, backed by the world's largest icebreaker fleet, including nuclear-powered ships. Since 2014, Russia has built or reopened 50-plus Arctic military sites. Its nuclear submarines hide beneath Arctic ice, strengthening second strike capability. China calls itself a near-Arctic power. It links the region to its polar Silk Road, but the decisive battlefield is space. Early warning and surveillance satellites use polar orbits. Control the Arctic means control of missile detection and targeting.
Wasn't that fascinating? I could listen to another 20 minutes of that. Tell me more. You see, we're not going to get that. We're not going to get that kind of detail. We're not going to see President Trump's strategy. But it's never about what you think you see. There's always something so much different going on, the end game. So I find it curious that the man the left tries to tell us is a dictator. They protested him. No kings. Is the guy who's actively trying to keep the world at peace, who wants to make sure your child isn't the next to disappear from the street, to be harmed, raped, or murdered by somebody Joe Biden's auto pen let in the back door. It's completely logical where Trump is going with his plays. But when you're dealing with hysterical kamikaze Karens, people who believe in the new currency with his political outrage and all the other nonsense that goes with it, the plain old living in Realville, common sense, remember that, seems to go by the wayside. So when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I want to talk for a minute about, it's crazy. This TikToker veteran says, you know what? Stop crying these hypocritical crocodile tears. Because if you celebrated the murder, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, but you want to call Renee Good just a mom, caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, you can suck it. Next. What's going on in California, too, is pretty interesting. Man, they are just falling apart, and it's so hard to watch. So hard to watch. It's watching people who don't have the acumen but do have the corruption to be leaders. And so there's not even a guise of progress. It's just a sieve of fraud, waste, and abuse. And then Gavin Newsom, beating his chest. We had the fastest debris removal time in the Palisades in American history. Well, that sure didn't do a whole lot for the folks who are still waiting to move back into their property and rebuild. So what gives? They're hoping that they can run out the clock on you, that they can slow you down. They can run out all of the red tape. They want to Canada Goose you, right? Here's a QR code. Well, that doesn't work.
Because you're so frustrated, you walk away.
That I can't do it anymore. I surrender. That's what they hope for. Let me tell you about Healthy Cell. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. It is a really quick, efficient, delicious way to get some of the best supplements into your system. And it's not to take a pill and to digest it and have it work through your system like that. It is to give you these supplements it's almost like a yogurt kind of consistency, like a kind of a jello or a jelly consistency. It's microgel. And they put the supplement in it in these great packets. And depending on what you're taking, this is the calm mood one. Instead of taking a Xanax or some kind of a prescription medication that fudges you up no matter what, right? Makes me feel terrible. Terrible. Rather than doing that, why not try something that's natural? Try nutraceuticals and adaptogens and other things that the folks at Healthy Cell have found that put together into these phenomenal supplements. It's easy. Done. Focus and Recall is my favorite. Focus and Recall, there's the bone strength one that's huge. If you're at risk for osteoporosis, you're over the age of 40. Absolutely, I would take that. There's the REM sleep. There's the immune super boost. So it wraps you in this protection during cold and flu season. There's a special formula just for your vision, for your eyes. There's one for your blood sugar. One for your heart. I mean, it's everything. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. I love them. It's completely changing the way, the manner by which you get your supplements. And it's 165% more absorbed than things you take by mouth, like pills and capsules. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. It is the real deal.
At first, I was not worried, but was like, man, Trump needs to be concentrating on America. Not anymore. Now I realize he is, but he's got dog on a bone. Scott Bessent going after. He didn't have to worry about the corruption.
Pissed over the weekend.
Oh, Scott Bessent.
Holy moly.
He's like that. I don't want Trump involved. I want Scott Bessent involved.
He's that calm dude who once his intonation changes even the slightest, you're like,
he's that guy you push, and then
then he goes kamikaze on you. And you're like, what?
You all know someone like that. I have a friend that I've never seen him mad. I wouldn't want to. Just because I've never seen him mad, I wouldn't want to see mad.
Right? Let's see how we're doing with our rumbles. This is important work, people. Look at 6,500. So this is great. 300 more than we had last week. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. I think one of the beautiful things, and if you haven't gotten X on your phone, if you haven't gone into your app store and literally typed in X and downloaded the app onto your phone, or even Instagram, or Snapchat, or TikTok, you are missing out, right? You are honestly missing out because there is such a beautiful tapestry of voices out there. You have Black people coming out of the woodwork saying very basically, if a police officer or a federal agent tells you to stop, you stop. You don't go poke the bear and then claim hands off if they turn around on you. That's not how it works in the real world. You might be insulated there in your white suburban enclave out there where you watch soccer and drink wine. But in the real world, you don't do that. In the real world, when you get pulled over, right, what do? I put my hands on the steering wheel and I wait for the officer to come up to my window and tell me what he or she would like me to do, right? I'm not going to be rummaging around reaching over into my glove box to try to rifle around and find my insurance and registration. That looks suspicious. I don't need to tempt anything. I will wait, hands visible. You tell me what you want. I will provide it for you. This is a veteran. And there was a lot of swearing in this as well, but I think people are just so over the inanity, this inane aspect of liberal behavior. Listen.
Look, it's got to be said. If at any point in time you were holding a finger to your neck, imitating a gun, and mocking Charlie Kirk, and you're over here screaming, "She was a mother!" You get no sympathy from me, dog. You had no sympathy for a father, a Christian father, who lost his life over free speech. I have no sympathy over a dumb that tried to run over a cop. Yes, she did. Yeah, she did. Yes, she did. You're an idiot. She did. And she lost her life for it. When I was in Iraq, or Afghanistan for that matter, if you would have used a vehicle to try to ram through one of my Marines at a vehicle checkpoint, we're unloading our M16s into your ass. Doesn't matter if your wife and kids are in the car. Doesn't matter if grandma's in the car. It doesn't matter if Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny are in the car. Your car is going to look like Swiss cheese when we're done with you. You can expect the same from every cop all over the United States of America. It should go without saying. Cops surround your vehicle and yell, "Stop." Put the car in park, put your hands on the steering wheel, shuck up, record everything, and take it to court. Common sense is not a common virtue, I know. I just look at the left.
Oh, 100%. Law and order doesn't care about your feelings, doesn't care about your tactical training at some place where everybody's going to get together. Ooh, we're going to go be vigilantes together. How exciting. Like, how much of a weirdo are you? This is the thrill of your life? To go put your life on the line to be the next Renee Good? Well, you know, it was so interesting because the last woman who was shot and killed by law enforcement in Minneapolis was a woman named Justine Damon. It was 2017, I think. And she was killed by a cop in Minneapolis who happened to be, wait for it, Somali. What? I thought we would go back because nobody protested when she got shot and killed. Nobody protested when she called the police and said it sounded like in the alley behind her house that there was a woman being sexually assaulted. And could they please come help? And when the cops rolled up on the scene and she ran outside literally in her pajamas with no shoes, this officer shot her and killed her. I don't remember all sorts of protests. I don't remember a bunch of people being activated. I don't remember signs for Justine Damon. I don't remember anybody protesting the Minneapolis police. I remember, in fact, the officer, Mohammed Noor, who shot her as she approached his patrol car to report a possible rape behind her Minneapolis home. He said the shooting was a mistake, right? I made a mistake. She spooked me. I'm sorry. There was no outrage. There was no coordination. I guess only certain situations that fit the political narrative of the left are worthy of outrage, because Justine's wasn't. She was an Australian woman who'd become an American citizen, and she was engaged to be married, and she, in fact, was so excited about becoming married that she took her fiance's name before it was official. And Mohammed Noor killed her. And then you know what happened? He got sentenced. He got tried, he was convicted, he was sentenced, and then he got a lesser sentence. He got out early. He got out after a couple years. Where's the outrage there? Oh, that's right. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is on tap. Did you guys hear about the California exodus? You can only try to hit a stone and get money out of it so many times before it dries up. And the billionaires are done paying for the Democrat incompetence in California. The story next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. My. Yeah, so this guy just shot and killed her. Okay. Nothing to see. But the left chooses who they want their heroes to be, which is scary. It's unfortunate. This is why I can't have conversations with people in my family, certain people in my family, my personal immediate family. It's just not worth it. Where are you going to go with that? Are we going to move the needle? I don't think so. Let me tell you guys about the Simkovich Concussion Institute before I run to the restroom because I'm about to die.
I'm going to run first.
This is a very important phone call to make. And I want you to jot down his phone number, 412-366-3700. I want you to have his phone number on hand. Are you going to go?
Yeah, I got push button.
Oh, SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. If you've suffered some kind of an injury to your head, you know you're not the same. Maybe you think you have a concussion. Maybe you think you have a traumatic brain injury of some spectrum. You just know you're not right. You don't feel right. And it's destroying everything. It does. Imagine being my friend who had this terrible essential tremor for like 40 years. It's become part of her life. Her hands just shook so much. She literally shook out of her shoes. And we said, why don't you go see Dr. Simkovich? And they went through the whole process, and she went through 4 days of his treatment. And she said, Wendy, I think seriously, I'm about 70 to 75% improved. From a guy who doesn't cut into you, who doesn't take blood, who doesn't have needles, who doesn't hurt you. He puts his fingers in your mouth and adjusts you. And he heals your brain. What? It's crazy. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com, 412-366-3700. It works. I don't know what else to say. It works. I'm delighted you guys are here. Let's see what you got. We're 70 away from 3,000 rumbles. You guys are killing it. Thank you. Hey, if you haven't done so yet, hit the follow button. Hit the follow button, right? We're trying to get 100,000 follows by Easter. I'll be right back.
This story coming up with people leaving California. It's the same thing in every blue city. If you're in Pittsburgh, and we keep saying Pittsburgh because that's where we're at. When you have someone come in and raise property taxes 33%, and then you have a new administration come in and say, well, we mismanaged and now we need to raise city taxes 20%. Businesses are like, people are like, see ya. And now you're going to have renters not paying the property tax, but paying the property tax. And you're going to become unaffordable, and they're not going to want to live here. Crime's going to be on the upswing because people don't want to be police officers here because they get treated like crap. The people who want to argue with you, and she talks about family, and I'm the same thing in my family. They want to argue about safety and ICE, but ICE isn't coming to their community. They don't live in the city. They don't live where it's dangerous. They live in their lily white communities. They're lily white communities that have very little crime, but they have a big problem with ICE coming to your town where you want them because crime's out of control. But they're going to tell you, you're the bad person. Well, no, I want my town to be like yours where there's no crime. So why don't you butt out? Because you don't have that problem. You worry about your town. Don't worry about mine. ICE wants to come here. Fine. Let all those people move out to where you live and see if you want ICE coming to your town. It's the people who don't live there or live in that part of the area that needs it, that have the biggest and loudest opinions about what should be going on.
Agreed.
Don't talk to me about Pittsburgh politics, and don't talk to me about taxes in Pittsburgh if you don't live in Pittsburgh. Shut up, period. I digress. I hate everyone.
Oh, Shane, thank you. You look fine. I saw a hair that was sticking out of the top of my head, and it was a little.
You have a bunch of them.
It's a little distracting. Newsmax was like, "Are you available today, 3:30?" And I'm like, "Negative, Ghost Rider. I'm not going to be able to participate anymore. I'm sorry." It's amazing how changing the time that we're doing this. And let me, you don't think about some things, right? I didn't think about that, but I'd rather be with you guys. Just gonna say.
Did you tell them I was available?
Yeah, you want it?
No. I don't even think I could be home for that.
No, I wouldn't be home in time. Look at you guys, 20 away from 3,000. That is true organic clicking, and you're steady at about 6,500. That's huge. We got almost 1,000 on X. So that's where you are. Hi, and thank you. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. You know, there's something to be said for not being given a lot of stuff. We've had to scrap and scramble and save and scrimp and invest and plan and plot and try and fail and try it again. And because of you guys, and you've been with me the whole time, us the whole time. That's a lot of you. That's amazing. Thank you.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with healthcare and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. You know, if you happen to be among the very select percentage of America that gets absolutely clobbered by taxes because you are very successful, a lot of people wouldn't feel all that sorry for you until you stopped paying with your highly successful money the taxes that keep your local infrastructure and everything alive. And that's where we are in California. I say this to my dad all the time. I said, you know what, Dad, one of the hardest things about starting my own radio network, if you will, and creating a company and having to be taxed as a company and having employees and having to provide this and that. It's stressful. The number one most stressful thing is the taxes. It just absolutely is a hassle. And his response is always to me, you know what, be grateful that you owe, because if you owe, you are earning, you are producing, you are succeeding. Yeah, it kind of doesn't feel like that when you're constantly bending over and giving more. And in California, it's like this never-ending dip into the well. It's like they're standing, and Democrats are standing around a well, and they have a bucket on a string, and they just keep on a rope, and they just keep lowering the bucket and bringing it back up. And the well itself, the water, is your rich people. You can only dip into the well so many times before they're like, I'm sorry. I don't think so. And this most recent wealth tax, it's a punitive tax on billionaires, 5%. for a year, they say, please. We've been paying in Pennsylvania. We've been paying the Johnstown flood tax since the 1890s, for God's sakes, right? Do you think maybe we paid for whatever damage was caused by flooding in Johnstown, Pennsylvania a couple hundred years ago? I'm going to say, yeah. Yeah, we probably have. And yet here we still are paying this stupid tax. It's never going away. And so now billionaires are bailing on the state. You cannot lose. You cannot lose that much money. And that's already what's going on. This is what's happening. It's interesting to watch, and it's sad in another way because I love California. I'm from there. You know, I don't want my sister and her family to get taxed into oblivion, but I kind of am like, you voted for it, dummy. You know, wake up. What do you think? What do you think is going on? Where do you think your money goes? You're paying for transgender surgeries for people you never even met because that's freaking crazy. You're paying for all of this health care and all of this stuff for people you've never met who don't give a rip about you, and many of whom would hurt you. Hello? California's proposed wealth tax triggers this massive billionaire exodus and a $1 trillion loss. Just even thinking about it, it hasn't even been voted on. If I'm not mistaken, it's coming up in November, and already the billionaires are like, I'm so out of here. Peace out. Stop dipping into the well. Stop asking those who innovate, who are successful because they took chances on themselves, because they did something, they put in the extra hours, they worked the weekends, they worked the holidays, they were up at night pacing in the hallway, working on that idea. They tweaked it, they revamped it, they changed it, they failed. How many times did they fail? And they got back up, and whatever revenue they had, they put the capital back into the business, and they kept reinvesting. And then all of a sudden it takes off. All of a sudden, they're an overnight success after 25 years. And all you want to do is dip into their well. For what? To pay for your terrible governance? Mm-hmm. Here's your story. Economic collapse.report. That's a pick-me-up site, isn't it? What are you reading, honey? Oh, nothing. Economic collapse. California's push for a new tax on its wealthiest residents is backfiring in a big way, no duh, with billionaires packing up and heading out of the state. The move has already drained an estimated, oh boy, $1 trillion in wealth from the Golden State, hitting tax revenues hard and shifting the burden onto everyday workers. You can't just think that there's always somebody, some economic whipping boy who you can tap into and cover. Bill, Bernie Sanders, tax the rich. Really? The controversy centers on a ballot initiative backed by the Service Employees International Union, United Healthcare Workers West, calls for a one-time 5% tax on the assets of anyone worth more than $1 billion in the state. Supporters argue the funds would help cover potential cuts in federal health care funding. Where's all the freaking money gone? Why can't you provide health care? Oh, because you've welcomed in how many millions of people into your sanctuary state. But critics point out that the real world fallout exists. Venture capitalist Chamath Palihapitiya, founder and CEO of social capital Hedosophia Holdings Corp., put it plainly. He said California had $2 trillion of billionaire wealth a few weeks ago. And now 50% of that wealth has left, taking income tax revenue, sales tax revenue, real estate tax revenue, and salaries and income taxes from their staffs. These departing billionaires aren't just taking their fortunes. They're pulling jobs, investments, and economic activity with them. Palihapitiya added that California billionaires were reliable taxpayers and warned that unless the ballot initiative is pulled, the billionaire exodus will continue, leaving the middle class to foot the bill. Middle class like my sister and her husband. Even Governor Newsom has voiced opposition, saying the proposal, quote, is not something to be panicked about, but part of a broader concern regarding wealth inequality. No, it has nothing to do with wealth inequality, guys. Taking from the rich and giving to the poor isn't about redistributing wealth. It's quite frankly more than that. It's about paying for the grift the Democrats allow to happen. It's allowing all these loopholes and offshoots and detours where the money doesn't get where it's going. I have a story coming up after the next break. It's going to literally, I'm going to hear your face melt off as I say it. Because there is nothing that they won't cash in on to continue the grift, to continue the money making. Still, the measure is on track for the November ballot, and experts fear it could spark even more departures among founders and investors who drive California's tech and innovation economy. This isn't just a California problem either. This is a warning for the rest of America. When states pile on taxes that punish success, they chase away the very people who create wealth and opportunity. And the result? Stagnant growth, fewer jobs, higher costs for the average family. You become Wilkinsburg. You become the little community next to my neighborhood that's not incorporated in the city of Pittsburgh. It's its own borough. It used to be a great place to live when the mills were open. And when all that shut down, the wealthy folks moved away. The schools collapsed. The economic base absolutely crumbled. And Wilkinsburg turned into a high crime, higher property tax, dead neighborhood. Dead. But see, what they're doing in California isn't about industry moving away. It's them chasing the innovators and the thinkers and the doers and the dreamers and the people who work when you don't even think they are. Taxing them relentlessly. This is coming to a town near you. If California wants to reverse the damage, it needs to focus on attracting businesses and talent, not driving them away with punitive measures. You guys. In 2021, California and Gavin Newsom, he stood up and he beat his chest as though he was some rock star. They had a $97 billion budget surplus not 5 years ago. $97 billion. They're in the hole already. 70 odd billion right now. Where did the $170 billion go? Well, it went to that high-speed rail thing that never happened. It went to fixing the homelessness problem, which isn't fixed. Where did the $24 billion go? Well, so what's the solution? To stop the spending, to stop the grifting, to stop the fraud, to identify the abuse? No. Just take that rope and put the bucket on it and just feed it down until one day there's no water left. Something else I'm following is this ridiculosity of Tom Tillis, a rhino dirtbag, who's not even running for re-election, thank God, because he's a zero. He threatens to block all Fed nominations over the Jerome Powell criminal investigation. Look, if you're going to lie under oath about the expense of rehabbing the Fed's headquarters, and it's supposed to cost $1.9 billion, which is outrageous, and it ends up costing $2.5 billion, a la the homelessness industrial complex in California or the high-speed rail to nowhere boondoggle, and you get caught lying under oath about it and you perjure yourself, which is a freaking felony. Tom Tillis wants to go out, put his neck on the line as a senator and say to Donald Trump, good luck getting anybody past me. You better pull this investigation of Jerome Powell. Why ever would that be, Tom? Why, Tom? Why did 26 Republicans help pass the Obamacare subsidy limp extension? Why is that? It's almost like everybody's in on it. When we come back on the Wendy Bell Radio Network, fraudsters getting rich. They cash in even when you die. This is going to blow your mind. Face melt off. Prepare. Next. No one is above the law. Then why haven't we had any prosecutions? Why hasn't Tony Fauci been charged with perjury? It's a felony. How many times did he perjure himself? How about Chris Wray? He perjured himself. Merrick Garland, Alejandro Mayorkas, all of them. 100%. Jennifer Granholm. She lied under oath as well about her investments, about divesting from them, about all of it. What was the name of that freaking the company that you invested so heavily in?
Some green company.
It was the company that made the electric school buses and whatnot, because that did great. Super electric school buses. I find that super in the Great Lakes in the wintertime. Maybe in the Dakotas. They work really well in Seattle and Portland too. Oh, that's right. No, they don't. All right, let's talk. Who do I want to talk to you guys about? My. I've done very well today. Proterra, that's it. Sniper, disinfect with Sniper. Oh, how many ways can you use this one bottle of the best germ-killing, fungal-fighting, smell-knocking out spray bottle of your life? Honest to God. Imagine one thing, one bottle, because that's what it is. This is it. And I'll even read it. It says, hospital disinfectant, odor eliminator, and cleaner. Kills MRSA, flu, parvo, HIV. What?
They use it in car dealerships, schools.
I swear to God, it says that. What? It's amazing, too. You could spray it in your mouth. It says keep out of reach of children, but you really don't have to. It's not going to hurt anybody. That's what's beautiful about this product. It says eliminate odors at the source, including shoes, furniture, mattresses, curtains, drapes, carpets, rugs, sports equipment, helmets, gloves, body armor, vehicles. Ideal for eliminating odors, strong cat odors, pet odors, animal kennels, barn stalls, urine, and other waste odors. Deodorize your HVAC system, ductwork. Not hard to do. Brock sprays this all over his air filter on his furnace or whatever, once a month. Disinfectwithsniper.com, disinfectwithsniper.com. I'm telling you, you'll never want anything else, and you'll be annoyed that you actually had other stuff. And you'll be
There's
like,
a new product coming out too.
shut up.
Yeah.
Our friend who markets this stuff, who sells it, is extraordinarily successful because the product works. So anything beyond that's gravy, including free shipping, which you get. Disinfectwithsniper.com, SNIPER. Anything that's on that site, I give a five thumbs ups. Whatever, you know what I mean? 10, I give it a 10.
I give it a 10.
Right? I know what I'm trying to say. I could go for a steak. Doesn't that sound good? Mashed potatoes. No, baked potato, loaded. Everything
Sour
that's
cream,
that sour
butter.
cream, buttered chive. Bring it. Put it all over the zhuzh. Maybe some broccolini sauteed in garlic. Maybe some truffle oil, sea salt.
Maybe you should make that tonight. for
Doesn't that
dinner
sound lovely? Mm.
with an extra?
Maybe a really
helping.
delicious red beefsteak tomato. Just nice. Our tomatoes suck this time of year. But that's what I'm thinking of. Our class is packing up and moving out of California. And could you blame them? Well, what are you moving there for? What are you staying there for? You're already the highest income tax in the world, in the country, right? Fourth in terms of the most taxed citizenry. I think Hawaii knocks it out of the park, right? But why are you there? You're going to get punished. They want to do like all these various ways to squeeze those who are performers, those who are producers, those who are innovators, those who are rich. Huh. Well, meanwhile, fraudsters are getting rich and they're cashing in even when we get killed. Did you hear about this? It's in Maine. And I want to read this to you from News Nation because that Rich McHugh guy's been on it. I like him. I like him a lot. This is the headline. Maine City Council member resigns as a report shows his nonprofit got victim funds. If I told you a bunch of people got killed in a mass shooting and that there was a fundraising for their families to bury their loved ones, to maybe get out from some bills. And a bunch of people gave money, right? And then a big chunk of that money didn't go to the victims' families. They went to NGOs. How would you feel about that? Yeah, I'd go through the roof. That's where we are. A Lewiston, Maine city council member in the state has resigned less than 24 hours after a News Nation investigation revealed that his nonprofit was among dozens that received money raised for mass shooting victims, despite donors being told 100% of the funds would go to survivors and families. It's sort of like all of the fundraisers for the Palisade victims, the music festivals, right? What happened with those? Where did that money go? Iman Osman, he's a Somali refugee, shocker, who heads the Lewiston Auburn Youth Network. Right. Stepped down from the council position he had just won this week. His organization received $65,000 from the fund established after the October 2023 shooting that killed 18 people. Osman, who faces felony gun charges and was under investigation for his residency, but still managed to win. Are you out of your minds? Wake up! According to the Maine Wire, he did not give a reason for his resignation. His attorney said in a statement to News Nation that Mr. Osman resigned from the Lewiston City Council this morning. He's confident that he would have prevailed in this investigation, just as he did when these questions were raised to the city clerk before the election and to the school committee. Lewiston Mayor Carl Scheelein said in a statement, on behalf of the city, I'd like to thank Councilor Osman for choosing to step aside, yada, yada. So this is what's at stake here. News Nation reported Wednesday that $1.9 million raised for shooting victims was distributed to 29 nonprofits instead. 1.9 million of some 6 million that they raised, fundraisers and whatnot. About a third of it was siphoned off to nonprofits, including 9 immigrant-focused organizations and at least 7 with Somali ties. Victims and family members said they were repeatedly promised all donations would go directly to them. Jennifer Zanka, who was shot twice during the attack, said the revelation didn't upset her until she faced a $93,000 hospital bill that she couldn't cover. It really hit me, she said. It upset me. I'm in no position to pay off a $93,000 hospital bill. I could if they didn't siphon 1.9 million of it to Somalis, right? So they raised money for nonprofits on the backs of 18 people who were murdered, 13 people who were shot, and 136 people who escaped their attempted murder. They used that money, raised money for nonprofits. Former Maine Governor Paul LePage compared the situation to fraud scandals in Minnesota involving Somali-linked organizations, saying in Minnesota, they're stealing from the taxpayers. In Maine, they're stealing from the taxpayers and victims of a massacre. How much more egregious does it have to be? If we don't care about the kids, if we don't care that there are actual kids who were supposed to have money given to them, or at least provided for them in terms of services, autism services, daycare services, what have you. If they don't care about kids, they don't care about the autistic, they don't care about the elderly, they don't care about veterans, they certainly don't care about victims of a freaking mass murder massacre. And they're going to siphon money off fundraisers to give to Somalians. Why? Why Somalia? There's obviously something bigger at play here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what it is. Full transparency, no idea. A Somalia where, I don't know, are certain people going to be relocated there? I don't know. I've heard rumblings of that. Fundraising, stolen from the families of the murdered victims and given to a bunch of people who don't belong here. Got it. When we come back on the Wendy Bell Radio program, my friends, why aren't the liberal activists protesting the slaughter of protesters in Iran? Let's take you street level, where more than 500 apparently have been reported murdered in the streets. Next.
It's what you said before. It makes you not want to give to anything anymore.
My my do-gooder philanthropic inklings dried up a long time ago when I was a consumer reporter. Million years ago at the TV station I used to work at. And you see how much of the grift, even just like fundraising for your local police, you get a door knock and you say to the person, what percentage goes directly to the police and not to your operational costs? And they're like, I don't know. My answer is no. Thank you. I back the blue.
Look at Susan Komen. That the breast cancer. Look
What about it?
how much they spend in advertising and how much actually goes to.
And then if you happen to have stage 4 cancer, they drop you like a hot potato
Yeah.
because you're an outcome that doesn't jive with what they're talking about. Susan Komen, I don't believe they have any interest in that. That's probably grossly unfair of me to say. Do they have interest in finding a cure for cancer? One would argue yes. But my, the money-making mill that's created out of the illness itself, out of the disease, it's created industries. So that's nuts. This, sadly, it happens. Yes? It doesn't happen overnight. It's not a weekend thing. It doesn't happen over a year or two. When you become very overweight, everything in your body is impacted. Kelly Morgan at Morgane's Fitness has an online opportunity for you to partner with her to learn how to eat the right foods for your body and to learn how to exercise so that you lose fat, you lose pounds, and you lose inches. And all of it is located at her website, morgainsfitness.com. MORGAINZ fitness.com. That's the story. It's called 90 Ignite. You give her 90 days and she kicks your butt and you find your abs. And some of the success stories have been nothing short of jaw-dropping. Morgane's Fitness, MORGAINZ fitness.com. Heck, if you live in Southwestern land before time, I don't know why you don't try to just join Cambria and Somerset counties. She's got gyms there. I love her.
Susan G. Komen, I said J, sorry, says, while overall programming spending is high, the portion specifically allocated only to research has been debated, with figures sometimes cited around 15 to 20% of total expenses in specific years, with the rest funding education, fundraising, and administration.
Right.
Education. I think we're past the point of we know what cancer is. I used to dated a girl who always did the Komen walk at different states. And I would always donate, you walk so far, one of those things. And then I just got to the point where I can't get behind it.
Mm-mm.
I'd love to support you, but
I had I had the opportunity to meet a young woman who was describing what it's like to be stage 4. In the Komen organization, she said really doesn't want to have anything to do with you.
Mm-mm.
And I was like, I'm not surprised. I'm disgusted of all people who deserve not to be abandoned in their 11th hour. And when you have stage 4, you know that you can treat it. You can get the mastectomy. You can do all the stuff, but it's coming back. It's stage 4. It means it's metastasized too, usually, right?
There's so many grifts out there. That's the shame of it. And the sad thing is that, much like the Somali crap that they keep telling you about, you're demonizing the entire community. That's just what happens. Happens with charities too. There's so many grifts going on that everyone suffers because of it. It's just the way it is.
I'm trying to find a good, right, where are we right now article to read you guys about what's happening in Iran. But I trust nobody. So, like, this is IranInternational.com, but
Today's went fast.
Bell radio program, I'm going to tell you right out of the gates, I am not a geopolitical superstar. I do not follow a whole lot of news all around the world. I'm not plugged in. I don't have a heritage that gives me background in any of these countries. And quite frankly, we have a lot to handle here on the home front, and I tend not to get into a whole lot of international news. However, what President Trump did in Venezuela just 2 weekends ago prompted something outrageous in Iran, and it was a flood of protests against actual tyranny. It has been an amazing display of bravery in a country in which people don't have rights. They are being shot in the streets for protesting. There are crazy estimates of how many people have been killed, and we don't know, because the internet is dark there. And we know that President Trump and Elon Musk are trying to get Starlink up and running in Iran. So the people there on the street who are protesting, who are trying to take over their country, who want to live the way they were living. But what? How long ago? President Trump started that by the takedown of Nicolas Maduro. He showed the world where there is actual tyranny, where there are actual oligarchs and kings, where there is actually disgusting oppression of people's rights. They don't matter. They can be plucked off the street anytime. President Trump hasn't rekindled. He went out and he got the kindling. When he started the fire. And it's spreading. And it's spreading across the planet in ways I don't think I would ever imagine. I couldn't possibly. I'm not there. But I want to read you some of the headlines. This is from IranInternational.com. Like, I want to get updates on this. I want to know what's going on, but I don't trust CNN. I don't trust Israel. I don't trust anybody, right? I don't trust anybody. Mass killings reported as security forces use live fire on Iran protesters. Where are all of your liberals who are protesting Donald Trump and kings? Where is your solidarity? Where is your outrage over what life is like for women, but for anybody in Iran? Where is your vitriol? It's selective. Of course. Iran security forces are using lethal force against protesters nationwide. Informed sources told Iran International, with preliminary estimates pointing to mass casualties as a sweeping crackdown unfolds amid a near total internet shutdown. Now it is. As protests continue across Iran under a near total internet shutdown, a viral clip showing a cleric calling for the Islamic Republic's overthrow has fueled debate over the role of the clergy and broader shifts in public attitudes. A widely shared image of a young Iranian woman using a burning portrait of the supreme leader there to light a cigarette has gone viral as a symbol of defiance in Iran's latest protests. People there are fighting for their lives. Leftists, deranged lunatics here are fighting for their right to get in the way of law enforcement's job, to get people who are dangerous and want to hurt and kill us off the streets. Go chew on that for a minute. Chew on that. Where are all the leftists in solidarity with the Iranian people? Interesting. We are witnessing bravery in Iran that is rarely seen today, and President Trump is the fuse of it. I want you to hear this woman. She says, you know what? Women, the Iranians are fighting against the exact system. The exact system. They're fighting against what the liberals in our country are trying to welcome here. They're saying to extremism, come here. Really? Listen.
We're witnessing something astonishing and historical happening. The people of Iran are reclaiming their freedom. And the bitter irony in this is that while Iran is breaking free from decades of Islamic tyranny, the West is just sleepwalking right into the very same ideology. That's where we're at. Iran is shedding it, and we are importing this ideology, and it's our own political left, so-called liberals doing it, as it was in Iran as well. This is why Iran has always been an important example.
100% correct. Iranian civilians are being shot with live ammunition by Iran's regime. And so you have to ask yourself, where are all of the activists? Where are all of the libs? Where's the Hollywood elite finger wagging and getting in charge, getting in front of this? Because they should be. Where's Greta Thunberg? She's AWOL. I don't know where she is. Mark Ruffalo, silent. Cynthia Nixon, Rosie O'Donnell, Javier Bardem. People I don't even know. Bella Hadid. Pedro Pascal. These people have all become malignant agitators against Donald Trump, malignant voices against ICE enforcement of the law. Meanwhile, you have actual life or death protests going on in Iran, and you have an Iranian people who see the course ahead, and it is not survivable. And you've got liberals in America saying that's what we want. That's what we want. No, it's not. She continues, boy, this is an Iranian protester. This is someone on the streets in Iran who calls out the left here in America for their absurdity. Listen.
Mr. Mark Ruffalo, why are you talking about the ICE, that one single woman that died, that came in front of ICE? I don't understand where you guys want to take this with Gaza and Hamas and the Islamic Republic of Iran. Neither of you have lived under the Islamic Republic tyranny that you guys are talking about the death of one single woman that have came in front of an ICE agent, a police. And you guys are talking about, you guys have human rights. You guys have everything that you need in your life. We have been taken, our lives have been taken away from us. You guys have everything, and you guys once have one president in your country that wants the best for the people of America that have built the land for 250 years. America has a right to have a country. America has a right to have a country as much as Iranians have a right to have a country. So let's get the facts right here. All right? Let's not get ourselves lost in this illusion that you guys have been building for us, for people.
People who actually are fighting for life. Looking at the privileged lunacy on the left. Fighting ICE. Got it. Makes perfect sense to me, doesn't it? So how many people have been killed? How many have been detained? We've heard reports 544 killed. It could be upwards of thousands. I've seen piecemeal video of what looks to be morgues with body bags of the dead shot and killed by Iranian police, right? Simply for going out and saying no more. We don't want your style of governance. Women don't want to be told what to wear, where to go, how to speak, who to be with. They don't want to be ruled and owned by a man. We don't want all these mosques. We don't want your rules. Shot and killed. And no internet for a reason. The Iranian woman comes back and she says, look, this is what real protest looks like, what's going on in Iran. And they know that President Trump is perhaps the only light of hope that they have. And that is enough. Watching what he did to Maduro is enough to drive these people out of their homes and put them into the crosshairs of the Iranian gunfire.
We're busy importing it while they're fighting for their lives to get rid of this. This is a moment in time where they have a fighting chance to get rid of it. Trump is in on it. They can be freed from this hell that they have been living under.
100%. And so, remember, the whole point of the deep state is to stay in power, to always stay in charge, to make sure that the money spigots continue to flow, no matter what, right? And if that means that you and I have to be taken along this ridiculous journey of infighting over absolutely stupid stuff, I look at the American left and I say, do you not get tired of being played? Do you not get tired of taking the bait? Do you not get tired of the deep state pandering to your emotions because they know you'll flip out over anything? I guess you're not tired. Here is an exiled Iranian crown prince who says to President Trump, I've got a message for you. Mr. President, please hear me. Listen.
Mr. President, you have already established your legacy as a man committed to peace and fighting evil forces. There is a reason why people in Iran are renaming streets after your name. They know that you are totally opposite to Barack Obama or Joe Biden. They know that you're not going to throw them under the bus as they have had before. This is why they believe that this time they are empowered by the hope that you have their back. Your words of solidarity with the Iranian people and your administration has had tremendous positive effect. Let's hope that we can permanently seal this legacy by liberating Iran so that we and you can make Iran great again.
Isn't that amazing? Would seem like a gimmick. Make America great again. Isn't a gimmick. It's a dream. It's an attainable one here in America. But without what's going on in Iran, for them, it's not. This one man is the spark of that much hope so many miles away, which is exactly why they tried to kill him. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I'm going to leave you with the smart white dude from the sticks, because what he says, I think, might just be the best audio of the day. White liberal chicks think they're playing a video game. This one, it doesn't end the way you think. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
I sent you a text
about Mark Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently the demotion in his rank, Mark Kelly's rank in the military, Pete Hegseth said, that's conduct unbecoming. To go out and to put out a video encouraging active military to disobey an order by a commander-in-chief or by anybody who is in a chain of command above you. That's your obligation. That's your right. You must do that. Remember that. You must do. And right, with all this stuff going on, taking out Maduro, taking out Iran's nuclear stuff, looking at Mexico, So Pete Hegseth is like, that's beyond dangerous, and you know better. And so we're going to demote you, and that's going to affect your pension. It's going to affect everything about you, and you can suck it good. How about that? I like that. I agree 100%. 6,000 still here. I will tell you, you guys are solid. You are hanging steady. We got 3.19. I mean, okay, I'll take it. Do I want 3.5? Totally. But that's on you. You guys did this. This is fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate your rumbles. I appreciate that you go every day and you have a vote and you have a voice and you exercise it and you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down underneath the video box. And that is your vote. That's called rumbling. And if you haven't already, you've kind of mosey on over to the button that says follow us. We'll notify you when we're live. Maximum amount of live time in a week, 7. Usually more like 6, right? Demanda, how's this new schedule working for you? I know she was like, well, I can monitor you now a little bit better because it's in my lunch break. And I'm like, I don't know how you work a full-time job, monitor a live chat. I don't know how you do it.
I don't do it.
I don't know. I don't know how you can. I don't know. But I am so grateful for you guys. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, Bongino said, I guess his new lineup, he's 10 to noon. The young girl he's got with him is noon to whatever. So against us. Then Vince is, I guess.
8 to 10?
Oh, he's 2 hours, 8 to 10. Okay.
But I guess he's coming back to radio also through Westwood One, which, if you're a radio geek, is one of the premier big three. And watching how they manipulate radio stations that want Bongino, be interesting to see.
They'll probably make people take a package deal or this and that. It's the way
if you want Bongino,
them.
you have to
have to have these people who you probably don't like, but you're going to have to take them. I think it's a really ugly squeeze play. That's why I'm cheap.
Do it.
That's why I'm cheap and easy.
That's why it's hard to break into it, because these guys get these, they used to do that with Rush. Rush was different. You actually had to pay for Rush. But for some of them, if you want this show, you have to take this show. Mm-hmm. It's just, that's how you see a Hannity get 600 stations.
It's because it's part of a deal.
Yeah. Rush got legitimate 600 stations and people paid for him. That's clout.
Yeah.
Where you pay for it and have to give time.
Yeah.
I
miss him.
That's called winning.
Jenny Webb, why are you saying thank you? Broadcast, and I told you. And, a lot of you listening to this program, whether it's on radio or you're listening online, a lot of you are older than I. I'm 55. I know quite a few of you are older than I am. And you're like, I'm not really plugged into the social media stuff. Might I encourage you to please give it a shot? Because you are missing out on a smorgasbord of really interesting people. And I will say, if there's one thing that has given me hope, as much as watching the left and the predictable corruption and the fraud and the cover-ups and the desperation and the deep state nonsense and Republicans behaving like schmucks, as much as all of that drives me nuts, lion's share of what I get when I look at X is a lot of voices, a lot of people who you didn't see before, who are now coming out of the shadows, and they're sharing something. They're sharing with you, strangers, something that they know, something that they've seen, something that they feel, because they believe it's going to benefit you or maybe change your mind or open your eyes. This gentleman, I think, is very interesting. I put him down as white dude. We've had a lot of black voices today, and they were fantastic. This guy says, look, these white liberal chicks who think they're playing warriors in a video game don't understand the other side of ICE. Listen.
ICE, immigration, protests. You want to know what's really going on in this country? We have an army of juvenile, useful idiots who are cosplaying as some kind of freedom fighter for a phantom cause that was made up by wealthy Democrat politicians who want their power back. That's it. This thing that happened in Minnesota, it's going to happen again and again and again if they continue playing stupid games. They're on the wrong side of the law. I don't care what Harry Sisson or Aaron Parnas or any of the Democrat elected officials say. ICE are law enforcement agents enforcing duly passed laws. The way this works in our republic is that if you don't like the laws, you work to get the laws changed. See, there's a reason they left the border wide open for 4 years, because they knew if anybody came in and tried to close it and enforce those immigration laws, then they would just call in their army of useful idiots and try to pull everybody's heartstrings and say, oh my gosh, these thugs are just going around picking up black and brown people. That's not the case. See, the guy, this woman who is no longer with us, was trying to stop them from getting to, was a monster. But you couldn't tell her that. And I'm guessing her wife now regrets screaming, drive, baby, drive. The last thing she ever said to her wife was, drive, baby, drive. Because they felt like they were some kind of freedom fighters, and they thought they were playing a game, like a video game. The ICE agents aren't playing games.
Playing games. And they're done playing around. And it's obnoxious. And the people in Iran and the people here in the United States from other countries that actually have real problems and not just meddlesome dirtbags who don't do their jobs. And I'm talking about the entirety of Congress, right? But real life or death issues, real tyranny, real kings waving real wands and firing real bullets at them. They see. Does the white college-educated toxic liberal chick who's now the kamikaze Karen protester, does she realize that she has been played? Because she has. Here's part 2.
They are enforcing our laws. What we voted for, the majority of this country, the popular vote, the electoral college. But Democrat politicians don't care. They don't care. They don't care how many lives have to be lost. As long as they can turn the tide and win get some electoral victories. We're not backing down. The American people stand behind what we voted for. We don't want to see anybody lose their life. So we should all be calling on these Democrat politicians to stop the lies and stop putting these people in danger by telling them they need to get out and fight. Tim Walz is a disgusting human being. The mayor of Minneapolis is a disgusting human being. It's going to stop. One way or another. It's going to stop. That's common sense.
It's common sense. Think about it. What are the 2 things that President Trump ran on that got him elected? 1, closing the border, deporting illegals. 2, the economy. Why is it that a Biden judge has just blocked President Trump's decision to withhold all federal welfare dollars to 5 blue states? Sanctuary states that won't provide basic information, whether it be about voter rolls or otherwise. You're not going to play. You don't get any cash. You get nothing until a Biden judge steps in and says, actually about that, I overrule the president of the United States. Do you remember when the left told us that Trump was never going to leave office? He'll never go. There'll never be another election. He won't let there be one. He'll stay there forever. It'll never end, right? It's interesting. Those same people are the ones who refuse to identify that a majority of the American people voted for exactly what they wanted, and they got what they voted for. Now, you have a choice. If you're a lefty, particularly if you're a chick, you want to go insert yourself? You want to go make yourself a hero? You want to go be a martyr? Think about your kids. Thank you for being part of the program today. WendyBellRadio.com. I hope you join us there on the live stream tomorrow. Come on back. You're always welcome. Love you guys. Peace.